Morning, dickhead.
And welcome to our Where's My Football edition of the Grumpy Old Man Wrestling Podcast.
Hello.
Hello, this is Rick Crabb with the dickhead next to me, Chris Bilto. And a programming note before we get started. You may be wondering why we didn't do another show last week. We're going to, because, quote unquote, the storyline is anyway, that we want to keep the show fresh and we're going to do it every 2 weeks. Truth is, Chris is being too much of a pussy to do it once a week. So to keep everybody happy for now, we're going to do it for 2 weeks. Okay, Tom Brady, are you satisfied or what?
Okay, Drew Brees.
All right. Well, yeah. So the reason I mentioned Where's My Football, because right now Lamar Jackson and Mahomes are both wondering that same question at the moment, since they both got their bell rung. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, they had Troy Aikman's brain who's calling the Saints and the Buccaneers right now. But the other reason is we have a story that's related to Mr. Vincent Kennedy McMahon and professional football. Anytime we can talk negative about Vince McMahon, I mean, I know it's low-hanging fruit, Chris, but
it's a good thing.
As you mentioned on the last episode, I had boycotted WWE, and part of the reason why is because of not only them sending away a lot of talent, most of it going to Shitpacked, which we'll talk about later, but also the way he treated executives in the XFL, including Mr. Oliver Luck. I had a little story about their ongoing feud in their lawsuit. While I get to that, I'll just make a quick note about Oliver Luck. I actually went to a game where he was present, Chris.
Yeah, I know you had this. Yeah, you told me about it, and you said your XFL experience was pretty good.
It was a lot of fun. Basically, I and our mutual friend, Andy, we went to the DC Defenders' last game of the season, which, of course, you probably remember, folks, the XFL season was cut prematurely because of COVID, just like every other sports league and everything else. Well, Oliver Luck, the commissioner, was in attendance. And right now it may seem strange because you have the social distancing and all this other stuff, but at that time, Washington, D.C. was the nation's capital of the United States. I don't give a fuck. Because you had people in one of the end zones make what was called a beer snake, which was basically buying cups of beer and stacking them from the bottom of this end zone all the way to the top. And Oliver Luck, being a man of the people, okay, he actually drank a beer, and they showed this actually on whatever network, either ESPN or Fox, I forget. He actually drank a beer like Stone Cold Steve Austin, drank it fast, handed it to these fans that were stacking these cups, and then they passed this cup up so he can help make the beer snake.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, could you ever see like Goodell or Manfred in baseball or Batman or any league commissioner doing anything like that?
Or even Tagliabue?
Oh, please, Tagliabue. Please, somebody be drinking the beer for him. Well, if he would, no, he'd be drinking like Chardonnay or some douchey Louis Martini.
Or even one of the owners doing that, you know?
Yeah. I don't know, probably the Ravens owner will probably do that. Not to say anything bad about him. It's just, I don't know, Steve Bisciotti seems like a cool guy.
But from what you told me about the Vince suit, Vince is suing him over something petty.
Well, yeah, that was an earlier, they're going over everything. I saw a headline in December where they were suing everything from, you're not paying, I mean, Oliver Luck didn't live up to his contract. Oliver Luck saying Vince McMahon didn't pay him. Vince McMahon saying you stole a password. I mean, this is ridiculous.
It's pettiness from both. Sounds like pettiness on both sides.
Right.
But Vince is Vince, and Vince never loses a court case.
No.
Ever. He's lost one out of how many?
Right.
And that was with Jesse Ventura over copyright.
Well, he plans on trying to win another that he is actually countersuing. This is according to a story from the USA Today, dated January 8th, during the period that we were not on the air. By the reporter Chris Bambuka from the USA Today, dated January 8th. The litigious drama between Vince McMahon and the ex-XFL commissioner Oliver Luck continued this week as McMahon filed a counter suit to Luck's lawsuit against the entertainment magnate from April. All right.
Last year.
Oh, yeah, well, of course. That's when they had to do so. Because, that's when the season ended. In his countersuit, filed Thursday in Connecticut federal court and obtained by USA Today Sports on Friday, the wrestling and entertainment magnate claims Luck defied his orders when it came to hiring league personnel and said the former commissioner essentially abandoned his duties when the COVID-19 pandemic forced the league to suspend play in mid-March, 5 weeks into the first season. Luck sued McMahon in April for wrongful termination, 1 week after McMahon fired him with cause. Luck's contract called for a $5 million annual salary and a yearly $2 million bonus through June 30, 2023. And Luck has said he is owed the $23.8 million remaining on top of the other damages and attorney fees. In the countersuit, McMahon argues Luck did not heed his direction when it came to the signing of former NFL wide receiver Antonio Callaway by the Tampa Bay Vipers. McMahon said he emphasized to Luck that the XFL player pool must include, quote, quality players with good character, end quote. But apparently, Callaway did not meet McMahon's threshold for, quote, good character. In November 2019, the ex-Cleveland Browns receiver been suspended for 10 games by the NFL for violating the substance abuse policy. He'd previously been suspended for the 2017 season for facing third-degree felony charges of credit card fraud. Callaway eventually injured his knee before the season started, resulting in the league paying him workers' compensation and leaving the XFL unable to terminate him without paying the original signing bonus that exceeded $120,000. My own commentary in addition to the Cleveland Browns, I think he also played for the Ravens as well. Quote, Luck knowingly and deliberately deceived me repeatedly through the Callaway situation, pal, which made me question whether I could continue to trust Luck to be the commissioner and CEO of the XFL, McMahon wrote in his suit, indicating that the WWE CEO had considered moving on from Luck prior to April. McMahon's countersuit seeks $572,792.10 from Luck to cover Callaway's contract, the workers' compensation owed to him, and Luck's personal compensation from March 14th to April 9th. Quote, it's another lame attempt by Mr. McMahon's attorneys to deflect attention from the fact that Mr. McMahon continues to refuse to pay the $24 million that he owes Oliver Luck. Counsel for Luck wrote in an email to The Athletic. I love, by the way, how his lawyers refer to Vince as Mr. McMahon, just like his Yale character. The countersuit lays out other instances of Luck pursuing players without previous blemishes on their record, naming former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver Martavius Bryant, who had been suspended for the 2016 NFL season for also violating the NFL's substance abuse policy, and a player referred to as Player A, who had been banned from the university where his XFL team was practicing due to a sexual assault charge. Former XFL president Jeffrey Pollock and Vipers coach Mark Trestman filed separate declarations confirming McMahon's account of events. Johnny Manziel was a sticking point for McMahon. The pursuit of former Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Manziel also caused a rift between Luck and McMahon. After learning of reports that the XFL would consider signing Manziel, McMahon texted Luck, quote, how long are you going to play this game, Oliver? You know there is no chance in hell for Manziel to play for us.
Quote, unquote.
I will not change my mind, so what's your plan? Admitting it was a headlines ploy, Luck responded, Vince, we have no intention of signing him. None whatsoever. We're just milking the story to stay in the news. I'm happy to categorically rule him out, but both Jeffrey and I think it is worthwhile to milk it until the showcases are finished, July 12th. At that point, we can say he doesn't fit into our plans. McMahon also accused Luck of leaving the league's Connecticut headquarters on March 13th and returning to his home in Indiana. After that date, Luck and McMahon had no direct contact, according to the countersuit, and McMahon claims Luck missed several league operations meetings. Quote, Luck's actions during the crisis caused by the COVID pandemic certainly did not meet my expectations for a commissioner and a chief executive of a sports league charged with devoting substantially all of his business time to the performance of his duties to the XFL at a time of existential threat, McMahon wrote. Luck, a former NFL quarterback who is also West Virginia's athletic director, is the father of former Indianapolis Colts quarterback Andrew Luck. The XFL filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in April, and the league was purchased for $15 million by a group led by Danny Garcia, ex-husband Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The league plans to return to play in 2022. So
how much was the suit for again? A couple $100,000?
Vince's side was suing for like $532,710.
How much is the man worth?
Well, Luck is suing. Supposedly, Luck claims he's owed $28 million.
How much is the man worth?
I'd say more than $28 million at least.
He's got more money than he got. Screw him.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, I would tell him to join the Kiss My Ass Club, but you know what? It's a very exclusive club, and I don't think Luck deserves that.
I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Vince only cares about money. He doesn't care about anybody else. Oh, he's a greedy fucker that wants money, 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 money. That's all he wants.
Yeah.
What did Daffy Duck says? He may be a coward, but he's a craven coward, but he's a greedy craven coward.
And he's despicable. Yeah.
This is ridiculous. I mean, it's not his fault COVID happened.
No, it's not.
Nobody's fault COVID happened. He had to shut down and declare bankruptcy. No.
Well, XFL aside, Vince has always been of the opinion that sickness is weak. I mean, Jim Ross even said in a few shoot interviews where he said, well, you can work, if you can work sick, you can work, if you can work, while you're well.
Yeah, you can work while you're sick, yeah. That goes into what I want to talk about, Drew McIntyre, about being sick and having COVID.
Right.
Apparently there's more. And that's why we didn't see a lot of Raw Monday night. But again, Vince doesn't care. Vince doesn't care. He wants to put on a show. He wants to do things his way. It's no way at all. Do you agree?
Absolutely. And I will not blame this on COVID. I mean, if you're a disease that's killed over 300,000 people in this country,
alone.
I mean, you can't, I'm saying in this country, not counting worldwide, you can't really fault the show for that. But overall, Raw in the past, I'd say 6 months at least, it's been horrible.
Drizzling shits.
It's late Bischoff era WCW horrible, Russo era WCW horrible, Russo era TNA horrible. Dennis Carluso NWA spot show horrible. I mean, it's been bad, and what is not horrible, we just saw Tom Brady get sacked.
Yes, we're watching the NFC game.
Yes.
But like I said, when it's the first time they admit one of their people has it ever in public. When Drew McIntyre did the video piece on Raw, saying he's basically saying wash your hands, wear a mask, yada yada yada.
Right.
How long has this disease been around?
Exactly.
Okay, it's been around almost a year already. In this country, and now they're admitting that their guys have it after they had 4 outbreaks.
Well, you're just starting to hear it now, not just from that company. I mean, Chris Jericho recently just admitted that he had it last year.
And Nick Jackson.
And Nick Jackson, yeah.
From the Bucks. You don't know how much the outbreak was there. And again, Impact, as much as you kill Impact kept it quiet. They kept a very tight lid on everything. You don't know who has what there.
Well, for Impact, though, it's... For one thing, it's like you have to have. I mean, I get you can spread it between 2 people, but Impact for a while didn't have much more than that. I mean, they benefited from McMahon's Purge. Okay.
Yeah, with Heath Slater, Kurt Hawkins,
Gallows and Anderson.
And we'll talk about that in a little bit. And other people showing up regardless. Brian Hebner showing back up as of last night.
Right.
Again, it's more reason to hate Vince. It's more reason to hate Vince, and I know there's guys out there who are the casual fans who just watch WWE and don't think there's anything else. There's other companies out there. If you think you're lowering yourself to watching AEW or Impact or New Japan or Ring of Honor, so be it. Lower yourself. There's more than one thing out there. There's more than one flavor of ice cream out there.
Well, the problem is casual fans aren't watching wrestling, period.
Yeah,
okay?
right now they're watching more of the news or whatever.
Or sports.
Or sports, yeah.
And Tim Cornette even had a thing where they caught tweets from NBA fans who were watching the NBA and then had AEW Dynamite come after that. Some of them who are fans who hadn't watched wrestling in a long time, they remember Chris Jericho from back in the day and saw that he looks like Vince Neil compared to how he looked in the Attitude Era, and they basically commented about that.
He's 50 years old.
Okay.
Okay, he doesn't look like Ken Shamrock, who's 55 and built like a brick shithouse, or Chris Daniels, who's in his 50s and looks in great shape. He's 50 years old. 50-year-old guys get a little flabby, okay?
Sometimes, but I don't know.
They all look like, Jack LaLange?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, even Ric Flair, when he was in his late 40s and 50s, he was still in good shape.
Yeah, but still, I was like, maybe he had a little bit too much of the bubbly.
Maybe, he wrestled in Japan a lot. Maybe he went to many steaks at Tribera Steakhouse or wherever that place where they get all those jackets from. But and I'm a fan of Chris Jericho's. I'm not saying it that way, but it's just, it's...
How many times has he reinvented himself in the past 20 years?
He's had to. He's probably reinvented... if there's one wrestler that may have reinvented himself more, well, maybe The Undertaker, but I would dispute that. Because Chris Jericho has been completely different characters. Undertaker is just different versions of the characters. He's like Batman.
Yeah.
Different versions of Batman, but he's still basically Batman.
It's like Chris Jericho... It's like the wrestling version of Madonna. How many versions of Madonna have you seen throughout the years,
Right.
Or Gaga. Vince only cares about money. He don't care about his workers. He doesn't care about COVID. Doesn't want to put the disease over. What did Cornette say on the he obsessively shaves because he doesn't want the beard to wind.
Right.
That's OCD. Mm-hmm. That's OCD. And if I remember reading an old Playboy interview with him about 30 years ago, Vince admitted he's dyslexic.
Yeah.
So he's got a learning difficulty. He's probably ADD also, because the booking's been ADD erratic.
Yeah, ADD, SHIT.
Yeah.
Throw in whatever letters in the alphabet you want.
Because what does it Wrestle Talk say? You get a push for 3 weeks, and they're done.
Right.
And hopefully Ricochet never resigned. His contract's up soon. And he said on Twitter that he has resigned, and I'm sorry he did, because they were just going to bury him continuously.
Yeah.
I forgot who else is not signed yet, hasn't resigned. But somebody else, I think the women's division, hasn't resigned yet. And they're going to bury her. Look what they did to Lita on the way out.
Well, Lita's situation was a little different because it brought some heat because of,
the whole Matt Hardy thing?
Yeah, Matt Hardy and Edge and all that other garbage, but yeah. But one thing, Chris, it's still perplexing to me, and I mentioned this the last time. Why the hell is SmackDown way so much better than Raw? Why did Raw take such a
It was the same creative team. Bruce Pritchard's running both shows.
Right.
I don't understand. One, we didn't know Nakamura was going to turn face. That was out of blue.
Right.
He's using his face music now.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Cesaro, we don't know about him yet.
I have a feeling he's going to turn on Nakamura. I think they're probably working out something.
Well, even Wrestle Talk said Tropicana feels too. What was he said Friday night? Tropicana feels too big. Got lost in it. Bullshit.
Okay.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
The Roman Reigns storyline is the best thing going right now.
It is. And they are so lucky to have him right now. I mean, especially because of all this COVID, I mean, the man had leukemia. He was at risk because of this.
He still is.
Yeah. He still is. No doubt.
Now, you talk about Raw being the shits. The only bright spot, and it's a very slim bright spot right now, is Randy Orton.
Yeah. And Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Bliss, who we're going to see her against Asuka tomorrow night.
Yeah, and I have a feeling they're going to ruin that. You know, it's kind of like somebody was joking about the playoff games. They're saying Cleveland Browns are being Browns today. You know, because they made a few mistakes. Same thing with WWE. They're going to be WWE. They're going to Vince somehow is going to be the extra step and ruin the stew.
Oh yeah, because he thinks he's the only. In Vince's mind, he thinks his fan base are still trailer park trash. In his mindset, he's the only deal in town. He isn't the only deal in town. There's other avenues. There's other places to work. No matter where it is or how small, there's other places to work. And Vince is, again, he's almost 80 years old. Go away.
Yeah.
I've been saying this for years. Go away.
But we've also said this too. Who is he going to leave it to? I mean,
What did CM Punk say in the pipe bomb promo? You're going to leave it to your dumb daughter, her doofus son-in-law.
Right.
It was like, okay.
The doofus son-in-law is probably their best hope, but yeah.
I watch NXT. NXT is, out of 3 brands right now, is the better show.
I mean, definitely the more technical as far as the wrestlers. Definitely have the best women's division. AEW, I mean, here's the thing with Dynamite, okay? I'm starting to like them a lot more. At first I didn't, because I didn't like a lot of their characters or who they were pushing. I still don't.
You don't like the Bucks? I know that for a fact. You made it public because you don't like the Bucks.
Don't like the Bucks, don't like Orange Cassidy.
You don't like Omega too much.
Omega, Michael Naka, get him the fuck off of my TV, that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a lot of stupid indie rip-it gimmicks. And it's all, you know.
And that's all they know. That's because the boys are brooking the boys, you know?
Right.
But with Vince, you have a team of writers who Vince keeps on, from what I'm hearing, Vince is ripping up scripts as they're writing them.
Then what's the point of having those people? I mean, he's probably paying a lot of money for them, and none of them have any experience in wrestling, and he really doesn't want to be wrestling. He wants to be Walt Disney. He wants them to be like Marvel and branching out into different entertainment fields. But
Gail Kim said in an interview not too long ago that she saw one of the writers come out of Vince's office crying.
Right, I bet.
What did Moxley say when he left about the creative? You heard the Talk is Jericho interview.
Yeah.
He said that it's like they give you a script. I'm a wrestler. I don't read scripts.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's heavily scripted. It's been heavily scripted for years.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing non-scripted is the matches where they probably let the boys work out the matches themselves.
Yeah.
Unless you got like who's the agents there now? I think Rotundo's still there.
Is Road Dogg still there?
Huh?
Road Dogg's still there?
Road Dogg's in NXT with Sean and Hunter.
Okay, what about Helms? Is he there now?
I think they just rehired him. I know Jamie Noble's one of the agents. Adam Pearce, which surprisingly did one of the best things I ever saw this week. That
was a really good ending.
You want to explain it?
Basically what it was, if you watched the previous Smackdown, they had a thing where somehow Paul Heyman had connections.
Pulled strings.
Pulled strings and got Adam Pearce into a gauntlet match to be the number 1 contender to face Roman Reigns.
You want to give the history about Adam Pearce? Adam Pearce used to be in Ring of Honor.
Right. You go on with that.
And wasn't he once NWA World Champion?
Right.
He has not been in the ring, 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
He's not in ring shape. But somehow Roman Reigns got him to get into the gauntlet match and win it.
Well, basically what had happened is...
little chicanery.
A lot of chicanery. Basically what happened is the final contestants of this gauntlet was Nakamura and Pierce, and basically Roman and his his mullet-headed plunky cousin, and jumped Nakamura, and then they jumped Pierce, and then they threw Pierce on top of Nakamura to make him number one contender.
Which should have been a disqualification.
Right. But then they confronted the referee, and the referee looked like he was going to number one or number two himself, so he let it. I'll allow it,
Was the referee Charles Robinson?
That time it wasn't, no. But Charles Robinson actually did have a match, or he went up against, well, that happened the week following that,
yeah.
where the mullet boy tried to cheat with his feet on the ropes, and Robinson caught it. And, I don't know, mullet boy was basically saying, my cousin's head of the table, we run this, and all yada, 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 okay, whatever. Where's that table at? Okay, is it a Bacona burger or what? But anyway.
But we just remember him and Charles Robinson as WCW running his little H.
So what they did was they tried to do this thing where Heyman kept going back and forth with Roman Reigns, trying to change the contract. He's like, okay, I want him to sign it as a no disqualification. And first Pierce signed it. Then he brought it back to Roman, and Roman said, I don't want a no disqualification, I want a last man standing. And I want Pierce to sign it at the end of the show tonight. So, sure enough, they had a contract signing, the usual table and the taunting and all this other stuff.
Oh, but the chair. The chair. You gotta say something about the chair.
Oh, he made him, yeah. Reigns wanted him to switch chairs,
And put it at the head of the table.
Right. So, long story short, he wound up signing it, and Pierce said, I couldn't wait to do this all. I've been waiting to do this all night. And he left the ring, and he started limping. He's like, oh, ow. I'm sorry, guys. Look, I have an old injury from 10 years ago. These things linger up. I don't know if I'll be medically cleared for that. So, as you said earlier tonight, Roman, it's like WWE always puts the same thing in these contracts.
Card subject to change.
Card subject to change, and it said, as a result, I'll have to name someone who is medically cleared as a substitute. And here he is right now. Sure enough, Kevin Owens' music comes out.
Should have been Nakamura.
Kevin Owens comes out, and, well, you might see Nakamura with a hand in this match, but anyway. Kevin Owens, once again, against Roman Reigns.
In a last man standing match.
And in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. Which Roman talked himself into thinking it was going to be Adam Pearce.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of a cool angle, a cool swerve.
I thought so too.
Like I said, best thing and I think the SmackDown Women's Division is better than the Raw Women's Division right now because Asuka has nobody.
Right.
There's nobody to challenge her at all. Nothing. And right now, we just don't know.
No, you don't.
What is it? And you got Sasha has Carmella, who's gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
You still got Bayley in the background somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Ding dong, yeah.
Who else is Chelsea when she comes back?
You also have Miss Bianca Belair with the thing with Chelsea, which it's kind of a weird feud. That's almost like a frenemy feud with those two.
Yeah.
But
which we're going to get an obstacle course match.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean, they didn't need to do that. I don't know. Bayley's awesome as a heel, but it's like they don't have to do dumb crap like that. Didn't they do that already with Lashley and somebody else? I forget who that was.
Let me ask you a question. What did you think of the talk show segment? Ding dong.
It's just another talk show segment.
A lot of people on Twitter came down on it.
Yeah, it's done to death. Bayley's good with a mic. But it's like I don't know.
And even Britt Baker threw some shade on it, going, "Hey, my talk show's better."
Not by a whole lot,
Yeah.
though. I saw that too. That was just a train wreck. That was basically a moment of bliss in a dentist office, more or less, because things just kind of fell apart with that. But
and of all the shows I watched all week,
yeah,
NXT and AEW is just beating everything else.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because like I said, SmackDown's good, Raw is the drizzling shits, and then we got the promotion I watch on Tuesday nights that you don't like.
That I swear you're getting some money up from these people because I
If I am, then I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, okay.
You want to talk about the pay-per-view I saw?
I don't want to talk about it, but you're welcome to.
I watched today on delay because I was busy watching our Ravens tank last night. Hard to Kill today. I downloaded and watched it. Not a bad show, other than a couple of quirks I didn't like. That it's glaring to him. They need to get rid of.
Glaring to who?
To you.
Oh.
The worst thing I saw, and Ethan Page, all ego Ethan Page, I've seen him in CZW, I've seen him in other promotions, I've seen him here, he's part of a tag team called The North, with Josh Alexander. Ethan Page's contract went up last month, at the end of last month. He filmed this segment in September, from what I understand. It's against his alter ego Karate Man. And it looked like a Mortal Kombat type green screen, where they even did Mortal Kombat moves.
Oh, you didn't tell me about a green screen.
Oh my God, it was so 80s bad. It was so 80s bad. And the reaction I read on Twitter, it was mixed. Either you're going to really like it because of the cheesiness, or you're going to really hate it because of the cheesiness.
And I'm sure there's an explosion somewhere in Louisville, Kentucky about that.
Oh, you didn't hear about the ending. The ending is Karate Man plunged into Ethan Page's chest and took his heart out. Fatality. This is a company where a referee got shot. Mickey James got thrown in front of a moving train. Do you remember that?
No.
By James Storm, and other atrocities has been promoted. Even in the Dixie era, that happened. Other than that, the rest of the pay-per-view was really good. We had the opening match with, remember Caleb Connolly from NWA?
Yeah.
He's Caleb with a K. He's the photographer to Neil Dashwood, who everybody knows from the WWE's Emma.
All right, okay.
Took on Rosemary and Crazy Steve. They reunited as Decay. Decay won with them basically spraying the green mist in both their eyes.
Okay.
The Muda mist.
Right.
Two matches in the night that got me was the Triple Threat X Division match, which had Manic, who is T.J. Perkins. Everybody knows it's T.J. Perkins. Even Raju took the mask off, and he had face paint to see it wasn't him, quote unquote, but it is him. And Chris Bay. Great match. Fantastic match. Well booked. And with TJP, a.k.a. Manic, still keeping the X Division title. The other match was the Virtuosa Deanna Purrazzo, who is a great technical wrestler, against Mrs. Morrison, Lavera Loca, Taya Valkyrie. They told a story of how Loca worked over the arm, worked over the leg, made her tap out a double arm bar, which I think she calls it the Love Nostra. Venus de Milo, where if you know, the Venus de Milo had no arms.
Right, yeah.
It was a good match. The main event, they had, Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan are your first ever tag team Knockouts tag team champions. They're now called Fire and Flavor. Go ahead and roll your eyes.
Already did.
They did a short Twitter video on the Impact Twitter feed, basically throwing shade to Tony Khan, which feeds into the interpromotional thing.
Right.
Which I think, if you think about it, it helps both promotions.
You think so? Because this is my opinion of it. Cornette said this, and I agree with it. It's not doing jack shit for AEW. It's helping Impact.
Yeah.
AEW wants to get other promotions to help him against Vince McMahon. I get that part, but other than that, I mean, Impact basically, from just my own observation, this is what I've seen from Impact in the last year. You basically have cast-offs from Vince.
Like it's always been.
Indie-rifics. And the ECW retirement tour without Taz. I love Tommy Dreamer.
And Rhino.
And RVD. I met him years ago at Chiller Theater. But No, I'm sorry.
Tommy, they had an old school, no DQ, no count out match, 6-man, with Cody Deaner, which is now known just Deaner, because they're the him and his cousin Jake are the redneck Canadian farm boys.
Oh. Okay.
They're like Canadian versions of the Briscoes.
Right.
Cody Deaner turned heel on his cousin Jake and joined Eric Young's group called, I forgot, I think they're called Violent Content. And Joe Dory, who I heard a lot of things about from All Japan. He's a former Triple Crown champion. And he's been there for quite a number of years. And the boy is impressive. The first time I ever saw him in the ring was today. He's impressive. Eric Young, me and you have seen Eric Young throughout the years. Eric Young's really good. I like the new World Class Maniac gimmick they're giving him. It's basically sanity without sanity.
Okay. A lot better than him trying to be the women's champion or whatever the hell he was.
Yeah, well, that's when he was doing that goofy comedy shit.
Yeah.
This is when... What was the deal with that name of that heel faction he had in the old TNA days? With he had the global title.
Yeah.
When he had all the international guys in his faction. And this is the Eric Young we know with the sanity edge. Against Tommy Dreamer, Rhino, and Cousin Jake. And Eric Young won with a pile driver. That's his finisher. And I think on Tommy Dreamer. So Tommy Dreamer took another pile driver bump.
Okay.
The main event, again, it was supposed to be the Motor City Machine Guns and Rich Swann, Baltimore's own Rich Swann, which I got to cheer on my Baltimore boys, against the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega. Don Callis did Kenny Omega's entrance. Alex Shelley couldn't make it for undisclosed reasons. He probably tested positive.
Right.
They replaced him with Moose, who's the heel, who is gunning for Rich Swann's Impact title.
Oh, jeez.
Yes. And if you remember what Moose looks like, he's 6'7", and hovering around 300 pounds of muscle. He's got like maybe 3% body fat.
Okay.
The boy moves around like Apollo Crews does. He's like another version of Apollo Crews, but more athletic. I've seen, and during this match, he was doing drop kicks. He did a Spanish fly.
Okay.
I was impressed. I was very impressed with him. The finish was Kenny Omega beating Rich Swann with the One-Wing Angel after a couple of V-triggers. Kenny used his AEW theme music. And the other thing that got me, they're wearing Bullet Club gear. Tama Tonga on Twitter has said, stop it. Repeatedly, stop it. We're the only Bullet Club, because I think it's still under license from New Japan.
Right. And we're in Hot Topic. And
Hot Topic, well, yeah. Well, I got a Hot Topic, and they stopped selling Bullet Club stuff. I think you got to go to either their shop or Pro Wrestling Tees. Or just mainly their shop, because they keep on saying the forbidden door is closed. I think it's getting ready to open, and I think the Tongans are coming. And if they're coming, they're going to try to wipe out the Bucks and Omega. What do you think?
I hope it happens. I think it's all a work. I think they're setting up for something with those idiots, and I don't know.
If New Japan is part of this interpromotional thing, where do you think they're going to go to first to attack?
Probably Omega and the Bucks, but
maybe the Good Brothers.
And probably them too.
That means they'll show up on both shows?
Yeah, probably.
That's if the travel restrictions are, because they here's the other thing that got me when I'm watching this. We have a new commentating team. They got rid of Josh Matthews and Madison Rain. Thank fucking God.
Yeah.
They replaced him with Matt Striker and D'Lo Brown.
Yeah. D'Lo Brown is probably a good color commentator, but I'm not a Matt Striker guy.
Striker worked. Did he work for Vince doing commentating at one time?
He's worked for Vince. He worked for MLW. I've heard him on CZW. I've heard him on a lot of companies. He was probably in Impact at one time. That wouldn't surprise me.
The first time I ever, outside WWE, hearing him doing commentary was, I think, my first exposure to Wrestle Kingdom.
Okay.
And it was like maybe 5-6 years ago.
Right.
It was for American pay-per-view, and he was the color guy next to Jim Ross. And I was like, okay, this guy's not. The last time I ever heard him do colored commentary was I think last year or 2 years ago, Triple Mania down in Mexico with Vampiro.
Okay.
And he called the show. He wasn't a color guy. He called the show, and he named every move. When you work in the business, he almost acts like you're in the military. His service has been there. His service has been there. Her service has been there. Mm-hmm. I was like, wait, what? Well, again, it's better than Matthews and Matt Rain. It's better than Matthews.
It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. Josh Matthews has been moved back to producer level, and Madison Rain stepped away from the business altogether, probably to be more with her kid, be a mom to their daughter. Matter of fact, she even showed up on camera with Gail Kim to hand Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz the tag titles. Because Gail Kim still, I think she's a booker there now.
Okay.
I give the pay-per-view 3.5 out of 5. The Karate Man stuff was the complete shits, but everything else was pretty good. Mm-hmm. The barbed wire match was everything you wanted and more. With Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan, which...
Well, if you want that. I mean, a lot of that hardcore shit's died down, though. And I used to be a big fan of it, and I still enjoy it.
A CCW every once in a while?
I don't know about CCW, but I mean more like actual hardcore shit. Not the DJ White era, I'm sorry, no.
DJ Hyde?
DJ Hyde, whatever, yeah.
How about, I forgot who runs Game Changer Wrestling. Nick Gage's buddy, the guy who did all his correspondence while he was in jail. Lauderdale. Zandig used to own the promotion, but he sold it to Brett Lauderdale, and Lauderdale runs it now. And they were one of the first promotions to start running shows when the restrictions were loosened a little bit, and they had shows on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, which I thought was great. And that was the first appearance of the Indies since he got let go was ACH.
Okay.
And you saw the rant from ACH, or did you?
No.
ACH basically called the WWE racist.
Yeah.
And
he
went off. I mean, he went off. Are they wrong? Okay, you got Mexicans coming on lawnmowers. You have a black guy who's a pimp. He had what was it? Epico came on a bicycle, a tricked out bicycle.
For years, you had things with WWE. You had, every black or South Pacific wrestler had hard hats. I mean, you had dumb stuff like that. Roddy Piper, I love him. He's my favorite wrestler of all time. But some of the stuff he said, if he said it today, my God,
like we said the last show about Bad News Brown when he painted himself out black. You can't do that anymore. I
mean, he wouldn't just be blackballed. He'd be teabagged with blackballs.
Yeah.
All right.
And going back to New Japan, I watched Kingdom. Good show, 2 good shows. Really 2 good shows. And I watched New Year's Dash. New Year's Dash was the last show reportedly of Jay White, the biggest heel name, the biggest white boy heel they got. Mm-hmm. The boy was trained at the dojo there. I think Liger was his trainer.
Okay.
From what I heard, Liger is a monster as a trainer. You heard nightmare stories of Bill DeMont down there. Yeah. I heard Liger is tougher and stricter. It's that Japanese mindset, Right. Jay White came through the system. He's worked Ring of Honor, which you probably saw him in Ring of Honor television,
right,
as the babyface. And when he joined Chaos as the Switchblade, and then turned his back on Okada and joined Bullet Club, he became the biggest heel in the company. He gets a reaction out of that crowd where that crowd sits on their hands most of the time.
Right.
He gets boos. He gets a reaction. How many times have you heard that from a Japanese crowd? If ever.
Right.
If he is a free agent, there's been plays in the WWE to make him come to NXT. I don't know about that.
Yeah, because, they'll try to reinvent him somehow so they'll give him a name that they can copyright.
Jay White, I understand Jay White is his real name. He's a New Zealander, so he's a Kiwi. So they'll probably give him some stupid Kiwi bullshit.
Yeah.
But like
Outback Jay or something stupid.
Outback Jay, yeah. Well, yeah, that's Vince. That's not Hunter. I don't know what Hunter will give him.
Yeah.
Hunter might.
Hunter might give him a wedgie. Who the hell knows?
Yeah. But from what I heard, there are people inside the WWE who are pressuring Hunter to get this guy. I mean, just not the higher ups. I'm talking about the boys. And they're saying, look at this guy. Look at this guy. His finisher is called Blade Runner, which basically is the Crossroads.
Okay.
Damian Priest does the same fucking finisher. He's going to have to change the finisher. He can't use the Kiwi Crusher because it's a form of a brain buster. He can't do it because of head injuries. So they're going to have to change his whole moveset.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do with him. If he goes.
There he goes. He might not because of that.
Yeah, he might go join his buddies in AEW. Or if he's friends with guys in Impact, he might go to Impact. Remember, these guys have friends outside of the promotions.
Right.
What do you think? He might be friends with Callis. His so-called invisible hand, who says he's been everybody's been saying this bullshit, this interpromotional thing's been building for years. That's what Callis has been saying. It's been building for years. It has a shoot. Do you think it was? Because he booked Jericho and Omega.
Right.
And that was 2-3 years ago. He's friends with Jericho. He's friends with Omega. They're all from the same area, from Winnipeg. I think they grew up together. I think him and Omega grew up in the business together. And he's friends with Jericho because they're from the same area.
I don't think it was originally. I do think that Tony Khan...
He's a money mark.
He is a huge money mark. He's an indie money mark. So, I mean, it's probably a wet dream for him to get every indie company together and on his show. Especially the internet buzz guys, like a Jay White. Right.
I would love to see Jay White signed for 7 years. That's what I'm hearing, but they took his name off their website. So that's a telling thing. I don't know if it's part of a work. New Japan believes in long-term storytelling, like in 2-3 years storytelling.
Right.
So we don't know what the payoff is going to be until 2-3 years down the road.
Well, you were asking before whether you think this could be an interpromotional thing with Bullet Club. It might be that.
That might be the first salvo?
Yeah.
See Jay White showing up? And attacking Omega.
Yep.
Because Jay White is part of Bullet Club. Matter of fact, you know what his nickname there is? Other than Switchblade, he has his T-shirts call himself King Switch. And the reason they call him Switchblade because he stabbed Okada in the back.
Which I can see a Bullet Club versus Bullet Club thing, but to me, I think it would make more sense if this was a swerve where they said, "Okay, stop it," and then they wound up joining together. And if you're going to have New Japan, I think you should have Bullet Club, and then you should have like our favorite lunatic Suzuki and his group.
Yeah, Suzuki-gun.
Yeah.
Remember, there's like 5 now. There's 5 factions in New Japan. There's Suzuki-gun. There's Lij. There's Chaos. There's Bullet Club, and now there's Empire with Will Ospreay, Jeff Cobb, and Great O'Khan, and B. Priestley. Cobb is a monster there.
Yeah.
You know what he reminds me of? A much bigger version of Taz.
Yeah.
Because he wrestles like Taz.
Same kind of build, but not bigger, yeah.
Not bigger. And I liked him in Ring of Honor. I'm loving him here. I love the heel character here. He just doesn't give a shit. He'll kick the shit out of you. He's a shit kicker there.
Yeah.
Hopefully him and Khan or him and Ospreay take on the Gorillas for the tag titles.
Okay.
Because the Gorillas got the tag titles back. That's another thing. They might bring those belts over.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, was it last year where the Forbidden Door kind of opened? They let Jericho have the AEW title there in Japan. How soon before we see an AEW match at the Tokyo Dome?
It could happen. I mean, you've already had AEW when they started. Before they had any belt of their own, they had the Young Bucks with what was it, the AAA belts?
Yeah, the mega titles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, with AEW, I'm hoping this is more than just 2 promotions. I would love to see New Japan come in. The other clue was when Don Callis did the was it the 30th anniversary of Jericho? We showed Tanahashi with the New Japan flag right behind him. That's a clue right there. It's an Easter egg almost.
Right.
I don't know. It depends on when the pandemic ends, when the vaccines go out, because you got travel restrictions.
You're right.
I would love to see Zack Sabre Jr., who, if you've never seen Zack Sabre Jr., the man's a goddamn
I have seen
wizard.
him.
He's a wizard.
Yeah.
He'll turn you into knots. Mm-hmm. I would love to see him against, who's the best technical guy in AEW?
AEW. Trying to think.
Jericho's a good technical guy.
Yeah. Maybe Pac?
Pac? Oh, yeah, Pac's a good technical guy.
Yeah.
Or would you like to see him against a brawler like Kingston?
It would be interesting. That's the thing. AEW, I'm trying to think. I mean, a lot of them, they're high flyers. They're either high flyers or they're hosses.
Yeah.
And not much in between. I mean, I mean, for a while, it's like, I kind of agreed with Cornette when he was teasing them, calling them all petite wrestling, because he had all the high flyers, and he had, like, Marco Stunt and all those other idiots. But now you have Cage, you have Archer, you have Wardlow, you had, Jake Hager. I mean, you have all those big monsters, so.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, did you watch Wednesday night?
Bits and pieces, yeah.
Did you hear what the resolutions were from the Inner Circle?
Yeah.
Hager says, championships, baby! Yeah!
Yep.
I'm looking forward to Wednesday night to see who's going to win this three-way. Mm-hmm. The Battle of the Inner Circle.
Right.
We were supposed to have Nyla Rose against Red Velvet. Nyla Rose announced on Twitter that she has been quarantined because she came in close contact with somebody in her immediate family who has it. So we don't know who's going to take on Red Velvet. You know who I'm wanting. You know who I'm wanting.
Oh, yeah. Would that be Miss Abaddon?
Abaddon. Again, drawn to dark characters. Love the Rosemary character. Been in loving the Rosemary character, but Abaddon takes it to a new level.
Yeah.
With the whole biting of Sheeta thing, the whole... I would say it's a tribute to The Undertaker with a sit-up. Mm-hmm. You never saw females do that.
And I think Abaddon's another reason why Cornette sits on the AEW, because a lot of that promotion is based on video game culture, which he doesn't understand. Abaddon, she reminds me of a Resident Evil type of zombie.
Yep.
And that whole thing, he keeps saying, it's like, I don't get the makeup, she's fat, she's this, she's that. Look. I mean, this... Number one, and he has a thing against Japanese wrestlers. He thinks, Japanese wrestlers are too small. And
bullshit!
As far as women go. And, I mean, I disagree.
Because he thinks they're all Riho?
Right. I mean, Sheeta looks like, she looks like the height and weight of most women in wrestling in general, She looks like a regular girl, yeah.
I watched some Stardom. Those girls are not small. They're average size.
Right.
Okay? They're not petite. They're not all Rio. And by the way, Kairi Sane's going back to Stardom.
Yeah.
She's probably going to be the best thing at promotion.
Oh, yeah. And you also have... Who was that one woman who... She was a veteran who trained all them. She always came out dressed up like Freddie Mercury.
Yeah. I forgot her name myself. But she works for Stardom.
Yeah.
And you have... Hannah Kimura's mom, who still works there.
Right.
Who still works...
Well, in AEW, though, I understand in Japan there, because you had, Bull Nakano and women like that back in the day, but,
Comeback Toyota.
Yeah, and you had... But in AEW, it's like... I agree with him about Riho. Riho...
She's 80 pounds soaking wet, probably.
She's like Slender Man, except in a small woman Japanese form. And whether this was a work or not, but is she actually the 9-year-old that wrestled Kenny Omega years ago?
I couldn't tell you.
I had heard stories where that is the case. I wasn't sure if that was just urban legend or if it was just a joke or what, but if that's the case, man,
Wikipedia's your friend.
Yeah.
Don't use...
But here's my thing about Omega. way people falling all over him and the way people
Every
shit on him
star,
like Cornette, I think it's stuff in between. What I don't like about Omega is I don't believe his facial expressions. He's too much like 80s Hulk Hogan. He exaggerates his face too much. He does the pointing. And it's a wonder he hasn't cupped his hand to his ear like Hogan. You know, that's the only thing he hasn't done.
Well, somebody said on Twitter, it's like, we're getting tired of Roman Reigns and Spear everywhere, but you see 80 million V triggers, you know?
Right.
His moveset hasn't changed. His moveset, it's a video game. It's basically a video game, like you've been saying.
Yeah.
You can't escape some the fall away reverse Samoan drop. Him doing the moonsault, the V triggers, the one wing angel, the behind the head leg lariat. I mean, it's all the same thing every match. He doesn't change it up at all.
Well, I mean, a lot of wrestlers do that, though. I mean, Ric Flair and Bret Hart have been notorious for that, but I mean...
Well, Ric Flair makes it look good for an hour.
Until he does the flop, I mean, you can call all the spots, though. I mean...
Yeah. But, I agree. I'm not Meltzer. Meltzer is sucking fucking Kenny's dick for some reason. Every match is a 5-star from Meltzer. Uncle Dave, and this is from me to you, get out of his ass.
All right.
Get out of his ass. I don't know, and I understand Dave has been around, is one of the most respected quote-unquote journalists, and we'll talk about that in a second.
Hey.
Not everything is New Japan. Not everything, and I love New Japan. But like I said before, there's more than other deals in town.
Right.
I watch everything. I try to keep my mind on everything.
Yeah.
But do you want to talk about the Bruce Mitchell story? And Brody?
Go ahead. Yeah, do that.
Apparently, Bruce Mitchell, who used to write for Wade Keller's, Wade Keller's Pro Wrestling Torch?
Yeah.
Went on his own witch hunt about the Brody Lee death, saying he kept on pursuing, saying it was COVID, even though the wife kept on saying it was not COVID. Brody was in line for a double lung transplant, for what I'm hearing, and nobody could find lungs that fit his frame because he was just so big. Jeez. And lung failure was imminent. Wade Keller fired Mitchell. Apparently, Mitchell went on his own and kept on pursuing the fact that this is supposed to be COVID. This prompted Amanda Huber to go on, I think, Instagram. I saw the post on Twitter, where she went after a so-called quote-unquote journalist, meaning Bruce Mitchell,
right.
Wade Keller, Dave Meltzer, all of them, all the dirt sheet writers. When me and you heard the Cornette thing,
right?
Mitchell, what did he say about Mitchell? It made us both laugh. He says, "I'm older than Mitchell." What he said something about, "I'm older than Mitchell. How come he looks like he's dying slowly every day?"
Right, exactly.
He looked like a poor man's Kevin Dunn.
Oh, gee, yeah.
Yeah. If it quacks like a duck, it walks like a duck. It's a duck. Don't try to make it another animal.
And if Kevin Dunn, it quacks like a duck with teeth. It's not wrestling. Stop doing that. You're so tiresome, Jim.
Okay, they're just playing sensationalist journalism because COVID's the big thing, and they're just trying to prove that it was COVID. And it wasn't COVID. The man had lung failure. I don't know. It could be genetic. He could have smoked. We don't know.
Either way, he didn't. He just wanted to do a hot take piece instead of actually doing some research. Yeah,
instead of being a true journalist.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I hope he doesn't get a job unless it's like, what was it Dennis Leary once said? I hope you're a night manager or a night drive-through manager or a Wendy's.
Was it that, or did he say something about, it might have been Kinnison said something about being a manager of a bowling alley at 3 in the morning.
Yeah, Kinnison, yeah. Kinnison said that. But, he does not deserve to be anywhere near a typewriter or a computer again.
Mm.
Is that Namigan Sue?
Yeah, I think he does play for them. But, yeah.
But for people who want to make up stories about these guys, the only reliable sources out there, and I hate to say it, is Meltzer. The other one is WrestleVotes. They haven't been wrong on anything.
I don't know. It's believe. It's like anything else. It's believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. So
Yeah, that's true. But we had a mutual friend used to. Didn't Jeff get the torch all the time?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got the torch. I read it.
Cornette used to write for the Torch, and that's why he went off on Mitchell like that.
Yeah, because he's probably friends with Wade Keller.
Yeah.
Wade Keller, I don't know how reputable he is nowadays because of this.
Yeah.
Meltzer is a bit more reputable. Russell Votes right now is the new kid on the block who's proven everybody else wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Fightful Select, which is Ross Sapp, is another reliable source. He's getting all his information I don't know where. It's... Well, just enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it for what it is. What do you want to talk? I'm running out of shit.
Okay, well, one angle is kind of getting on my nerves in AEW. Sting.
He can't wrestle. He's 61 years old. He's got a fucked up neck.
And I still don't understand.
Thank you, Seth Rollins.
The whole deal with, okay, I understand maybe they want to have establish a partnership with Darby Allin. And, I mean, they had that ridiculous match between Allin and Cage, which was excellent.
Yes.
And Allin is an absolute, he's not just a bump machine. He's like a bump.
He's like a pinball machine.
Yeah, he's like an assembly line.
Who's a better bump machine, him or Shane McMahon?
Ooh.
Shane's a bump machine.
Right.
Remember, what was it, King of the Ring 98?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say Allin because I think the stuff he does, or he either if he's not more risky with his stuff, he makes it look so. But, I mean, Shane did that one thing, jumping off the cage, and he actually put the cable harness and all that, which was smart on their part. I mean, they didn't want to see what happened to Mick Foley, but
yeah.
No, I think Darby Allin. But this is my whole point with that. Every angle, it's like, okay, Allen's in a match, Team Taz comes and beats his ass. Then all of a sudden, the lights go out. The snow comes down. Here
Winter
comes Sting.
Coming. It's a Sting! You gotta do it like Tony Khan.
You and I have gone to ECW to see Taz a million times. When the fuck was Taz ever afraid of a 61-year-old man?
He would drop a more... Well, since Taz has a stack of dying neck also.
Right, and not just him. He has...
His son.
He has Cage. He has Ricky Starks. He has his son. Yeah.
Hobbs.
He has Hobbs. Yeah, he got more beef than a McDonald's plantation there, and you're worried about Sting and his makeup and a baseball bat? Come on.
Yeah. But he's there for the nostalgia. Again, Tony Khan's a money mark.
But still, okay, get Sting to bring some other goofy people. I mean, right now, Sting, he kind of reminds me of the golf club you and I used to go to, where you'd have the old guy in the club who wasn't that old, but he was just too old to be there,
Creepy yet.
Yeah, creepy yet. Yeah, and us eventually. But,
yeah.
That's what Sting reminds me of now. And, okay, yeah, he has a cool t-shirt. And, yeah, all right, have him cut some promos. Have him be like Jake Roberts.
He's a great promo guy.
Yeah.
He can be a manager. Let him be a manager. He could be I think, wasn't Kabuki when he retired became a manager?
Yeah. Maybe give him a clipboard or maybe write the plays on his bat, or something. I don't know. Or look at his trench coat, it's like, here, you want to buy a watch? All right, Darby, go after his leg, it's like...
Going back to Jake Roberts, what did you think of him doing the little bit of physicality he did a couple weeks ago?
That was cool. I like that. I thought that was fun.
I was hoping he would DDT somebody.
I was pretty sure that Kingston was going to let him DDT. That would have been fun.
That short arm clothesline was a thing of beauty.
It was.
Yeah, because I that was nostalgia pop. That was my 12-year-old. That was my 15-year-old me going. That's the guy I remember.
And Cornette usually criticizes wrestlers for this. I'll say this in a positive sense. It wouldn't surprise me if Jake and Kingston worked that spot out, because it looked like I would imagine Kingston would be respectful of somebody like Jake Roberts and, let him do a spot like that,
Well, even Kingston, who not is a technical guy, but he's a brawler. He's one of the best things they got right now. Talking wise, and he knows how to work a match.
For the life of me, and he got over with the fans, I don't know how the hell he was a babyface in NWA Power. I mean, he was, but I'm thinking, wait a minute, you're in Atlanta, you're wearing New York Yankees gear, and you usually, anytime you're in a bingo hall in Philadelphia, you're cussing people out, and yet you're a babyface there, yeah.
Here's the, when he was in Impact, he had the OG, the original LAX, Homicide and Hernandez.
Right.
Taking on Santana Ortiz. And they just called him King. Or because they wouldn't call him Eddie, for the life of me, wouldn't call him Eddie Kingston because of trademarks, I don't know. He was a heel there.
Yeah. He's
a heel he was, wasn't he heel in Chikara when he approached, the Ring of Honor champion at the time? I forgot who it was. And he actually cussed the Ring of Honor champion out and we're being Chikara champion, which is a family-friendly promotion.
Right.
And he was just being as raw as Kingston can be. I was like, wait a minute, what? I was like, you couldn't say that at a Chikara show because you got like 10-year-olds in front of you.
Right.
It's like going, nothing against Danny McDevitt, and I love, he presents a family-friendly show, but Chikara reminds me of MCW.
Yeah. Well, MCW isn't as bad as MEWF. They were, although MEWF tried to be a watered down ECW as much as the State Athletic Commission would let them, but
when shows open back up again, I wouldn't mind going to an MCW show just to see what the product's like nowadays.
Yeah.
I have friends who work for that promotion. Oh, speaking of which, going back to the Hard to Kill, they mentioned Ruckus.
Okay.
When Rich Swann was in the ring, Ruckus and Adam Flash.
Well, they mentioned him in as part of Blackout?
No, Don Callis says all the Northeast indie guys. So it was like, they specifically named the guys from Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
Why don't you name Bruiser? Why don't you name Danny? Mm-hmm. There are other names that came out. Gilbert.
Well, that's basically, it's like who would, I mean, unfortunately, Gilbert is probably the more famous out of things as far as nationwide.
Yeah. Or other guys from Maryland. Gallows is from Maryland.
Yeah.
I found out Moose is from Maryland. He was born here. Eli Drake, who they'll never mention him again because of the way he got fired, because he wouldn't put over Tessa Blanchard.
Dummy, yeah.
Yeah.
Not really. I don't blame him for that, actually.
Okay, with NWA halting promotions right now because California's clamping down again, and I don't know about Atlanta, if they can go back to Atlanta, should Eli Drake show up at AEW?
I'd love to see him there.
He's a great talker. He's a great talker.
He is a great talker.
On the old show I used to be in, they think he's The Rock light because he wants to be The Rock.
Right.
The way he talks, the way he wrestles, he wants to be The Rock. They're not wrong. They're not wrong. Some of the way he talks is like The Rock.
Yeah.
It's the one he doesn't shove it up your KDS bullshit.
Yeah.
Did he just intercept?
I didn't see that again. I think, they did.
They did, yeah.
Oh, and Brady's upset.
He's gonna cry.
Oh, Brady's crying.
Wait for the feet. Wait for the feet. Out.
Let's see. Hold on. One,
2.
Yeah.
He's out. But, sorry, folks. We're watching the NFC Brady versus Breeze game.
But, I mean, to keep within the show, it does have a former 24/7 champion.
Gronkowski. Oh, Christ. From what I understand, Vince was the one who taught him how to dive.
I saw in one of those shoot shows on the WWE network. It was about WrestleMania. Vince actually climbed up on the ladder and actually on the platform and dove and showed Gronk how to do it.
Yep. He's 75. He'll break a hip.
Yeah. Well.
The best thing I've been seeing from the network right now is these little shoot shows they've been doing, like the Stone Cold Sessions.
Yeah.
I saw the Drew McIntyre one. Oh. It was really good. It was really good. They did talk about his time in TNA.
Mm-hmm.
They do talk about other promotions there. They had Bayley on there. She talks about her time in Shimmer. She said, you know who helped her out in Shimmer and got her a job at WWE? Serena Deeb.
Okay.
She talks highly about Serena Deeb in this interview. Even though Serena now works for the other guys.
Right.
Is she under contract for AEW or is she just NWA?
Not sure. She might be under contract with him now, but, I mean, I know she's wrestled there a lot lately. We'll see.
Speaking of people who showed up at AEW, going back to Hard to Kill, I forgot to mention this. The former Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, shows up. He took on Ace Austin, which Austin comes out with Madman Fulton, and Fulton interfered in the match, caused a disqualification. Ryder, Cardona hasn't signed yet. This is a one-off like he did with AEW. We just don't know where he'll land and stay.
Right.
Even Chelsea Green went on Twitter going, "Why is he on there?"
Yeah.
Play it up. And they're engaged to be married. He's a good talent. Vince fucked him up, fucked him royally. He was on a rocket ship when he was U.S. champion.
Mm-hmm.
Back when, was it Punk, Bryan, and him came out and all holding belts.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then Kane happened. Or was it Kane or Lesnar threw him off the wheelchair?
I think it was Kane.
Yeah, it was Kane. He was in a wheelchair and they threw him off the stage. Which basically said he gave him the Ricochet Lesnar treatment. Which, again, Ricochet, why'd you resign?
Right. Well, we don't know what else he was offered to. I mean, we keep saying, well, he should have went to AEW. Well, AEW might not have made an offer to him, neither. We don't know.
New Japan, he sure went back to New Japan.
Well, maybe New Japan didn't want him back.
Yeah, that's true. We don't know what he's like in the locker room.
Yeah.
We do know he goes out with Casey, what's her name, the Ninja Warrior chick that's on NXT.
Oh, okay.
The little skinny thing.
Ah.
They're part of the female Dusty Classic. And the rumors I'm hearing, Bayley wants to be part of this.
Yeah, she said that on a tweet. Yeah, she said that last week.
Who would you like to see her team up with in NXT or the main roster? Other than Sasha.
Yeah, that won't happen.
Who would complement Bayley?
I don't know. Storylines, there are some wrestlers I'd like to see her with, but it wouldn't make any sense. But
if it was a storyline, it'd be Bianca Belair.
Yeah. Bianca, I could see that. I could see them doing it anyway and then furthering their feud or whatever.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of Ziggler and Rude getting the SmackDown tag titles?
It's typical 50-50 booking, belt, hot potato in that company, you know.
The rest of the talk calling them dirty dogs.
Yeah, well.
That's what they're calling themselves, the Dirty Dogs. DAWG. And you know why they're doing that? Because Ziggler's from Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's right, I forget for the dog pound.
Yeah, the dog. He's a member of the Dog Pound. Speaking of which, it was interesting reading Twitter during today's game. Miz, Gargano, and Ziggler were all watching the game. They're all from Cleveland boys, and watching them lose their minds on Twitter is funny.
Right.
Our favorite old man on Twitter is a former Hall of Famer. You want to tell them about this?
Are you referring to the former WWE Tag Team Champion?
Yeah, former WWE Champion. Remember?
Yeah, that's right.
Who hates Hulk Hogan, is his legit heat, hates Hulk Hogan with a passion.
Von Gagne told me he would give me money to break Hulk Hogan's leg, but I couldn't do that to Vince McMahon Sr. He was like a father to me. Yeah. The
Iron Sheik is a joy on Twitter. He's just a crazy old man. He always tells people to go fuck themselves. And it's repetitive, but it's funny.
He's our hero.
He's a hero. He's a crazy old man. That's all he is. He's a crazy old man. He's a grumpy old man.
Yep.
And reading his tweets last night during the Rams loss, we found out he's a Bills fan. Big time. And
I thought he was a Vikings fan because I seen him wear Vikings gear. He lived in Minnesota,
but he's part of the Bills Mafia. And he basically called us jabronis.
Yeah. They played like it.
Yeah. But whenever he watches shows, it's fun watching him. I think he has the network. He watches the shows.
Yeah.
And he dumps all over the product like everyone else.
Right.
He even called the Buffalo Bills Iron Sheik class. Number one, they're no jabroni.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens next week when they go up against... go to Kansas City.
Without Mahomes.
Yeah.
But if you follow the Iron Sheik on Twitter, he does not know how to take off the capitals on his phone.
No.
Everything's shouting.
Right.
Speaking of which, some of my other favorites on Twitter are Renee Young.
Yeah.
She's a joy on Renee, was it Paulette now she's going under?
Right.
We all know she's pregnant, and she's just doing stupid pregnancy fun stuff on Twitter now, and she makes fun of her own husband.
And she's doing a lot of Canadian stuff based on the story. You want to elaborate on that?
Oh, about hockey?
No, with Renee Young, what Vince McMahon wanted her to do.
Oh, yeah. They had to take her to voice class to get her a Canadian accent because Vince hates accents. Which is what?
Yeah. On women, they're sexy as hell, unless it's the
British
Baltimore
women,
accents.
too. British women have British accents. I think it's
Yeah.
fucking awesome. Hearing... why? Because she said the word a boot?
I wish she would say it to me.
Or she's from Toronto, which is close to the States as you can.
Yeah.
Their accent's not that prominent. I have friends of mine who live just north of Toronto. I've been to their house. They don't have terrible accents.
I think we have worse accents than they do.
Yeah, the Baltimore accent's worse.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that since Vince hates accents so much, I'm surprised he didn't put AJ in those classes because AJ has a predominantly Southern accent.
Yeah.
It just, I can't...
Well, it's like a lot of wrestlers, like Pat Patterson. I mean, you can...
He's French-Canadian.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens is French-Canadian, but he has no accent.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, he's worked on that, though. For a while, he didn't even speak English.
Chris Benoit, the late Chris Benoit, had a heavy Canadian accent.
Right.
There was no shade on him. There's no classes on him. They let him be him.
Or Jericho.
Jericho's from Western Canada. I don't know. I don't detect an accent with him at all.
No, he said a gain a lot and stuff like, you know.
Or a boot.
Yeah.
But, Vince, why? Oh, and the other thing is, Renee Young let loose on an interview. Somebody came up to Renee Young and says, Vince don't like the women looking at him without makeup. What?
Yeah.
What mindset is this son of a bitch in?
Well, it's like something Paul Heyman said. You know why, JR? I have no idea. Because he can. That's pretty much what
He's a billionaire. No, what was the pipe bomb promo? He's a millionaire who should be a billionaire.
Right.
For the younger fans, look up CM Punk 2011 pipe bomb promo. It tells you what we think now about the product.
Yeah.
Which Punk let loose, and right now we need Punk.
Yeah.
We need Punk somewhere.
I don't know about that.
Phil on mic somewhere. Give him an open mic somewhere.
I wish he would do a podcast like Cornette does, honestly, but...
Last time he did a podcast, he was on Art of Wrestling with Colt Cabana before that friendship imploded and they started suing.
Well, I don't mean being a guest, being interviewed. I mean having his own.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know what he's doing now. Last time I heard him doing anything, he was writing for Marvel Comics.
That's probably... And he's probably done with the wrestling. He's made his money off of it.
Or UFC. Or I don't know if he's coming back to UFC.
I wouldn't if I were him.
Was he under CM Punk or Phil Brooks?
Phil Brooks.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. They might have called him CM Punk. I don't remember, but...
Speaking of which, I'm hearing Lesnar's training to go back to UFC. The contract, Matt Riddle.
Mm-hmm.
There's talks about since the restrictions on marijuana in UFC have loosened, Matt Riddle's thinking about not resigning and going back to UFC because the boy can't put down the wacky weed. Because maybe that's why he's a cross between Jay from Jay and Silent Bob and RVD right now.
Yeah.
The reason Vince keeps him around because he makes Vince laugh.
Yeah.
You make me. What was that? What was that line from Commando? You make me laugh. That's why I kill you last.
Yeah.
I was like, it said like that. It sounded just like that. I was like, please, Hunter, take over. Please, Hunter, take over.
Or just don't watch it. I mean, it's...
I watch it because for the for the show, and two, I support the boys and the girls in the locker room. I don't support Vince.
Yeah.
And I do not put a dime in Vince's pocket. Again, I watch it through streaming sites. Go after them, Vince, you asshole, because you got enough money.
Right. But yeah, you do that. Well, the problem is you don't just do that with them, though. You got to support them another way, though, Chris.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, if they have a Patreon, I try. If I have the money, I'll support a Patreon, maybe $5 a month. Like I do with Cheerleader Melissa, she has a OnlyFans site where she basically talks to her fans. I've been chatting with her for 3 months, and she's awesome.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I bet that's why you're chatting with her.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's retired. She doesn't want to go back.
Yeah.
I thought...
Unless she can join the Dark Order.
Yeah. Cheerleader Melissa or Alyssa Flash. Or, what was her gimmick name when she was managing Kong? Shahid? Riyadh Shahid? She was doing the Muslim gimmick.
Oh, okay. Was she the terrorist or?
She wore the face covering.
The burqa and all that. Yeah.
And she was the manager of also. She was the mouthpiece of Kong.
Okay.
2 Patrick Mahomes commercials in a row.
Yeah. Where's my football?
Yeah. He was asking that today.
Yeah.
The best source, if you want to support your wrestler, go to Pro Wrestling Tees.
Buy their stuff.
Buy their stuff. Go to their Patreon. Even if you want their Patreon or OnlyFans, go support them. Mm-hmm. If it comes to Vince McMahon, it's up to you. So use your own discretion.
Right.
If you want to buy the network, buy the network. It's your own discretion. If you have gripes against Vince, that's on you. Okay? If you have gripes about the product, that's on you. What else can I say? Am I wrong?
No, I agree with you there. I also think you should disclose the money that you're getting from Impact for pushing them so much. But I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, yeah, I agree. That's for a while. That's the only money that any of the indies were generating would be from merchandise sales online, that kind of thing. But
I would like. Me and you've seen payoffs at indie shows. They don't get a lot.
No.
They get a percentage of the merch. How many times have we gone to, like, MCW, CZW, where the guys are behind the table selling their shirts? Because that's how they're making money.
Either they're selling them, or it's like their wives or girlfriends selling them.
Yeah, it's like, what was it, an MCW show? RCW show, we had Adam Cole, and this before he had Britt Baker, he had another girlfriend with him at the time. She was there to make sure T-shirt sales went out. You know? Kindred, who's a big name here to your local scene. I know Kindred. Kindred's awesome. He's the black dude who does the vampire gimmick.
Okay.
His girlfriend was handling the merch table. She's awesome. I mean, again, support your local guys. Indie wrestling, I will say this to the day I die, is the lifeblood of the business. Do you agree?
I don't know.
It's a feeder system almost.
Some of that blood's a little tainted, I'll be honest with you, but...
Well, look at Adam Cole. Look where he came up at. Look where he got trained at.
Right.
He got trained in the CCW dojo, even though you're not a big fan of John Dahmer.
Yeah.
He was the head trainer in DJ Hyde. Mm-hmm. He's the only success that came out of that school.
Right.
And the way Vince probably looks at it, he probably thinks he's going to be the next Shawn Michaels. It could be. I could see 2-3 years Adam Cole being WWE champion or Universal champion.
Okay.
Could you?
So that's very possible.
Because, like I said, Vince has that mindset. He has Shawn Michaels' look. He has the way he moves. He has the moveset.
Right.
The variations of moves, like the super kick.
Yeah.
God knows that Vince tried to do it with Dolph Ziggler so many times. Even though Dolph's been compared to Shawn so many times, it's not funny.
Yeah.
But I think out of the Undisputed Era, do you think Adam Cole is the breakout guy, or do you think now Kyle O'Reilly's the big breakout guy?
O'Reilly might be heading in that direction. I mean, we'll see like in a year or so, but it looks like I thought originally it would be Cole, but you know, it's just
because O'Reilly's been getting title shots. Him and Finn, fantastic matches. The match they had was it Wednesday night or 2 Wednesdays ago? Mm-hmm. Was fantastic, dead on perfect.
Right.
Didn't like the screw job finish with Pete Dunne and the tag champs.
Okay.
And we are not going to see McAfee until like special events because they're holding him. He's going to be getting the Brock Lesnar Undertaker tribute.
Okay.
Where you only show for special things, like maybe WrestleMania weekend where he'll do a takeover, or like he did for War Games. Which, but anybody who dumped on McAfee before that match with Adam Cole is changing their mind because McAfee surprised the living shit out of me at TakeOver for the singles match with Cole because I couldn't believe the stuff he was doing.
Right.
Then I saw War Games again, not blowing my mind. And going to NXT, I'm hearing the 2 constant names they're going to be calling up is Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. Do you think it's a wise move?
I don't know. I'm concerned for those two, to be honest with you.
Priest is good, but he's almost 40.
That don't mean anything.
They were talking about him joining the Samoan faction. By the way, Vince, just because he's olive complected doesn't make him Samoan. He's Puerto Rican.
How you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, he's Puerto Rican. He's Hispanic. He's from New York. Rhea Ripley is 23 years old. She has a lot in front of her.
I think with her, I wouldn't be surprised they put her in Raw again because Charlotte's there. They need more singles women.
They need more beef in that division, yeah.
Yeah.
And she could be the monster there because of her height and her size. Because she's, 6 foot?
Right.
And honestly, she's the best thing in that company right now. Total.
In all brands, you think?
When I saw her and Gonzalez, I saw the match, the last women's standing match between her and Gonzalez. She put Gonzalez over.
Yeah.
Gonzalez is another huge girl who I could see her being. I could see them building her to be the next China because of her size.
That I could see. Okay.
Because Vince likes living in the past.
Yeah.
Gonzalez at War Games got the pinfall in War Games over Io Shirai, which means they're probably going to line her up with title matches against Io. I could see that. I would love to see that. But right now, Io's got somebody in her face named Mercedes Martinez. They brought back Mercedes because they didn't know what to do with her in the main roster with Retribution.
No.
They don't know what to do with Mia Yim in Retribution. They don't know what to do with Retribution.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that.
And they're not going to give Mustafa Ali a hot mic anymore because he went on Raw Talk after Legends Night and basically trashed Legends Night, basically saying, there's young guys in this locker room. You're bringing out guys who can barely walk.
Right.
Who are for that nostalgic pop. Why don't you give us young guys a chance and try to build up? He basically trashed the product. They're not going to give him a live mic anymore.
No.
I don't think so. Because he's speaking his mind, and he's been going off on Twitter about it. He's trying to get fired.
Yeah.
I think he actually is trying to get fired. And I like Ali. Ali's a good talent. I could see him maybe, and as much as you hate that company, I see him in the X Division. Or I see him in NWA if they start back. I could see him as Ring of Honor champion.
Right.
Or go to New Japan and challenge Hiromu Takahashi for the junior title. I mean, he's good. He's really, really good. I don't know why they're sticking with that bullshit. Damn.
Right.
Damn. I don't know why they're sticking with that bullshit because Retribution is going nowhere fast.
I like that angle they were starting where he was supposedly the internet hacker or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought they were going somewhere with that.
He admitted it when they reviewed him as the leader of Retribution. He said he was the internet hacker.
Right.
Why did he keep doing that? Because Vince has the attention span of a squirrel.
Mm-hmm. ADD. Oi, oi, oi.
I honestly think the boy, he's dyslexic, he's OCD, and I think he has ADD. And if he's not on meds, he should be.
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely well medicated. Maybe just not those kind of medications.
Well, what was it? Spike Dudley. Spike Dudley said something on a shoot interview just recently that Vince wanted to smoke a joint with Spike Dudley. I was like, what? He didn't go to RVD?
Right.
And with the Dusty Rhodes Classic, one of my favorite teams debuted from Impact, the Rascals. Mm-hmm. Dez and Wentz, I forgot what their new names are. They're called MSK. And they're basically doing the same mindset, the same moveset. But I'm glad they're there. They get a wider exposure. Hopefully they don't get buried somewhere. Mm-hmm. Because their tag team division in NXT is pretty good. You get Lorcan and Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch are the tag champs. You have Imperium. You have Undisputed Era. You have Everrise. You have now Swerve and Atlas. And the list goes on and on. And for this tournament, which my pick for the Dusty Rhodes tournament right now will probably be the Era, Undisputed Era, because the winners get a tag title shot. Mm-hmm. Against Lorcan and Birch. And they're building, they've been building the Undisputed Era versus McAfee's crew for a while. And we're going to probably get Pete Dunne versus Finn Balor. Right. You want to see that?
Sure.
Pete Dunne, who is Marty Dunne without charisma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Isn't he? He's He just has no personality. Yeah. He's just a shit kicker. That's all he is.
Well, could you? I don't know. I think you can argue with that about Finn Balor, and especially when he's in the main roster. He just basically smiled and did his Dimmu Borgir dance in all of his intros. You know,
yeah.
It's like,
or when he was the Demon. That's the only time he had a personality.
Yeah.
I like this. I don't know. He started off when he came back to NXT as a heel.
Right. Now
I think he's a tweener.
Yeah.
Because he's now with the Undisputed Era. He's hanging out with the Undisputed Era. I didn't see Fish back. I think he's filling in for Fish for a little while. Because I don't know what's wrong with Bobby Fish. Could be COVID. We don't know.
Right.
Again, I don't want to be Bruce Mitchell.
Right, exactly. This show is pretty much about fan reaction. We're not journalists, so
if we were journalists, we actually have a website.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't stop a lot of people, but
Dave Meltzer.
Yeah.
But I like NXT. I'm loving the Dusty Classic. The female version of it, I forgot who's in it. I honestly don't. I forgot who's in it. I know 205 Live is holding some of it. I don't know why. Because that's a network thing only.
Right.
And maybe just to get eyes on 205 Live.
Yeah. Make sure that the network is happy.
Yeah. Now, what is your predictions moving forward after Hard to Kill last night with Omega pinning Swan? Do you think Omega's going to be the belt collector?
You could. I don't think they're going to involve Swan that much.
He's got moose in his face.
Yeah.
He's got Moose coming up. Looks like Eric Young's going to challenge him again.
Yeah.
I would love to see a one-on-one. There's talks about there's rumors if Omega's going to go to other promotions and just collect. Ultimo Dragon had all those belts?
Yeah.
He's going to be like Ultimo Dragon.
Ultimo Dragon, Austin Aries.
The belt collector, yeah.
Right.
Because wasn't he TNA champion and Ring of Honor TV champ at the time?
I guess.
Yeah. And Omega has 2 titles right now with the Mega Championship and AAA. Would you like to see him go open that forbidden door and challenge his best friend for the double belts, Ibushi?
Why not?
Do you think there will be another promotion being entered in other than New Japan?
Yeah, I think you might see more from the NWA. I think it wouldn't surprise me if Ring of Honor got involved too somehow.
Well, in a weird way, the bridge is what's the NWA show now? Shockwave.
Shockwave, yeah.
Mike Bennett, who is a Ring of Honor signed talent, showed up and took on Nick Aldis. There's that bridge right there.
Keep in mind when those things were taped. A lot of like what's showing on Shockwave now
was taped before all the lockdowns happened.
Right.
Again.
NWA was trying to do it in a promotional thing with Ring of Honor, especially when
Marty Scurll.
Marty Scurll was there. Yeah.
Now that, and that's another thing, with Marty Scurll being let go, do you think because of the allegations anybody's going to touch him?
Hard to say. Probably. I mean, eventually down the road. I don't know.
Vince will probably turn a blind eye and say this guy looks like he's money and can bring him in.
You think? Because I think it would be the opposite. But
well, he has charisma. The gimmick for the villain gimmick is so over when he was there.
But then that's the thing. You keep saying Vince doesn't like accents, but I mean, what about Drew McIntyre though? I mean,
yeah,
he sounds like that bastard. I mean, it's like
Sheamus, Nikki Cross,
Cesaro. I mean,
Billy Kay.
Yeah.
Well, Cesaro really doesn't have that much of an accent. Nakamura.
Yeah.
Whose English has gotten better.
Right.
Asuka, whose English is half and half.
Her English is better than they let on, though. It was like, he thought it was funny when she was a heel and she just, cussed people out in Japanese. But
Io's English is pretty good. Kari's English is almost non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
You know who surprised me had the best English in New Japan?
Oh.
Okada. Okada can speak perfect English. He's probably spent time in this country. Well,
no, I wouldn't say that. I mean, the Japanese, they're actually, a lot of their schools, they actually
teach English.
Yeah. A lot of countries do. I mean, a lot of countries are better at teaching other countries' languages than we are.
Yeah. Do you remember Okada's stint in TNA?
No.
Remember when they had the masked man who dressed like Kato?
Oh, okay.
That was Okada.
Oh.
Where Samoa Joe hung him upside down.
Okay.
Who is the best color commentator anywhere right now?
Right now,
I got my pick, and it's not on the show that we just shitted on.
You like D'Lo?
No, I like Samoa Joe.
Okay, no, Samoa Joe's good.
He's a breath of fresh air.
I miss hearing from him, actually. I'd say probably, if not him, I like Jericho. I wish Jericho would be on there permanently.
I think he's paving the way.
Yeah.
The other one I like, and I've liked him since he joined the main roster, is Corey Graves.
Okay.
Corey Graves.
I don't know. Corey, now he gets on my nerves.
How so?
How so? How doesn't he? Come on. He tries too much to amp up the. Well, it's like him and Adam Cole together. I mean, they're both basically, you can tell they're scripted. Cole is phony about it, and he tries to act like he's not.
Well, yeah, I remember you got Vince yelling in your headsets all the damn time.
Okay.
Tell him what to say.
Yeah.
Jericho. How about, I know who you shit on Excalibur.
No, I don't shit on him. He's all right.
He's your color guy.
He's okay. I think it's no fault with him. I think the only problem with Excalibur, he's like you. He assumes that everybody knows about independent wrestling when most people don't.
No.
And he's very lazy as far as exposing a lot of those wrestlers.
Yeah, I agree. Because he knew these guys from because he helped book Gorilla, Pro Wrestling Gorilla.
Yeah.
That's another. I've seen Gorilla DVDs. Probably some of the best promotional work I've ever seen.
You think so?
Yes.
I've seen some of it too. Some of it look like indie-rific bullshit, but
it's better than some of the stuff we see on the East Coast.
That's not saying much.
Because what's the best East Coast promotion? Us?
I
Here?
mean, probably mainly out of longevity, maybe, but even that, I don't know.
Again, I will. You disagree? I'm going to say this to the day I die. Indie wrestling is the lifeblood. Where do you think these guys are coming from? Where do you think Moxley's got started in indies?
But it's not the same as I mean, they're not learning anything. They're just doing spot after spot after spot. I mean, it's
You think Danny's doing that?
What's that?
Do you think Danny's doing that in the MCW school? No, he's teaching these guys right.
Well, you haven't seen MCW in 2 years, though, Chris.
True, but I've seen stuff on YouTube.
Okay, but how old is that stuff?
Recent, they just did the Bruiser tribute show on YouTube. I watched it. It's really good. It was really good.
Where did they do that?
Empty Arena at Joppa.
Okay.
At the flea market. They're treating. Look who came out of that school. Velveteen Dream.
Yeah.
Probably the best thing in that school right now.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we're not going to see much of him because of allegations. I think he's pretty much out the door. They brought him back just to job. Who did he job to a couple? Wasn't it Balor or Cole? No, he jobbed to Cole a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the best indie guy that came out of the indie system that you see? Kingston?
Lately, probably, yeah.
Lately? Mox? Swan?
I don't know. No, Swan's below Moxley and Kingston.
Because of his size?
Well, that puts,
Uh-oh.
I mean, yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
There's Mahomes asking where his football was, yeah, but...
But, because of Swan's size? Because he's not a big hulking guy?
No, it's not just that. It's just... Besides people, all 10 people, including you that watch Impact, who the fuck knows who Swan is, honestly. I'm sorry. I mean, he's established here, but I mean, that's the problem. Indie wrestling fans, that's the problem with my problem with indie wrestling fans. They assume that everybody is all in their big bubble, but they're in their small bubble, and they're not.
Rich Swann was former WWE Cruiserweight Champion. DSA. Not a lot. He's got more eyes on him than you know.
Again, it's hardcore. And I don't mean hardcore as far as
the hardcore
enthusiasm.
fans.
Right. You watch somebody who watched like WrestleMania like 30 years ago and then tell them they wouldn't know him from the former Pittsburgh Steelers receiver, like I said last time. I'm sorry.
If Rich shows up on AEW, do you think that'll set up the title versus title feud?
No. They'll probably stand on the dark.
Let's wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
You don't know. Again, you don't know what Khan's going to do. Khan might just say, "Fuck it, just put Rich Swann out there on Dynamite."
All right.
I would Rich Swann. He's a flippity floppy guy, which Cornette hates.
Right. That's my problem with indie wrestling nowadays, Chris. That's
spots.
And you see it in every match with every company now. Every match.
You got to dive outside.
You have to dive outside, and you have to have 4 guys that you're supposedly your enemies waiting to catch you. Come on.
Do I need to remind you that this is an ADD society because of the internet and because of instant gratification for everything? They want that right there, right now. That's why you're getting spot monkeys all over the place. It ain't like the days when we grew up.
That's because that's what they see at the indies, and that's what they think. They're not being taught how to protect their bodies and actually look like they're fighting.
It's all about this, man. It's all about money. If they want to pay to see the spot monkeys, you're going to put spot monkeys out there.
For AEW, they're not paying that in WWE, even though they're doing all that shit now anyway.
Because I think Hunter's in Vince's ears somewhat and saying, hey, these guys give him a chance. Like a Ricochet, even though Ricochet's being buried like crazy.
Yeah, but which ear, though? Vince has a hearing aid, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's right. I heard about that. Yeah, I heard, was it Renee Young said she called out Vince's name 2 times, he didn't answer. Again, 75 years old.
What?
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
when I get home tonight, I'm watching the New Day podcast. They did a Brody tribute.
Okay.
I have not watched this yet. One of the surprises they have as a guest is Eric Rowan.
Okay.
Which, if you guys haven't watched the Brody tribute from AEW, find it somewhere. It's a fantastic show.
Yeah,
it's very heart-rending and emotional. And by the way, today is Negative One's birthday.
Oh, no kidding.
So happy birthday, Negative One, Brody Jr.
All right.
They're gonna.
Well, maybe you'll get a life-size Marco Stunt action figure for his birthday.
Which is actually the size of a doll.
Yeah. Cut out the holes while Marco can breathe.
From what I'm hearing, he's going to be at the show Wednesday, and they're going to give him some sort of birthday present as a match.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because this kid loves the business. You saw the promo he did on Stunt. The kid gets it. I love the promo he did on Marco Stunt, and it's like this kid has a future. Mm-hmm. If he continues to do this, more power to him. They're doing this to make him feel better about himself because he lost his dad.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it wins out well. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing that they're doing for him. It sounds like, especially if they set it up where it's almost like a scholarship for him, where he can go to school, and if he wants to become a wrestler, he has a job, but maybe they'll want him. Maybe he might not want to be a wrestler, but maybe he might want to do like editing or production or something like that.
Or even his little brother Nolan, if Nolan wants to, if he gets the bug, Mm-hmm. Or Amanda wants to be. Amanda could be the next Vicky Guerrero if she wanted to be.
Yeah.
Remember, nobody knew about Vicky until after Eddie died, and then she became the hottest heel in the business.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Who knew? Who knew that she had the chops that she could do what she did?
Well.
And when she became the mouthpiece to a lot of wrestlers and became the Smackdown general manager,
right? And
how a wicked bitch she can play, I loved every minute. I ate every minute of it up, and I thought she was a great heel. She's a heat-seeking missile, and too bad again that Nyla Rose can't work because I would love to see Vicky go up there and be on commentary,
right?
Because she can talk her way through it. Mm-hmm. She gets it. Again, Vicky gets it. Unlike her daughter Shaw, who pretty much is out of the business. And I wish she would stay in the business because I saw a lot of Eddie in her.
Right.
I don't know about the other daughter. Matter of fact, I just found out today that Shaw Guerrero has a Patreon for burlesque stuff up.
Ooh.
Yes, and she has she put a video up on Twitter. If you go to Shaw Guerrero, she has a video where she just installed a new stripper pole.
Interesting.
It's I don't know. I know it's a form of exercise, but a lot of people
I have a lot of respect for burlesque dancers.
Yeah,
they're
some of the most fit people we've ever seen.
Fit, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, some of my other adult-oriented projects I got to meet through burlesque dancers, and I'll just leave that there. But
yeah, you go because of doing that, you're gonna have a lot of dirty old men going to that.
Ding dong, hello.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have a lot of dirty old men going to that. And I wonder what Vicky's gonna think of her daughter doing this.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a form of carny entertainment, like wrestling started out as. So he's probably supportive, but it's probably just be careful.
Well, didn't it become a trend of exercise back in the early 2000s with women?
It did come back into vogue, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a form of exercise. It's
a form of dance.
It's a form of dance. It's been around for centuries.
Yeah.
And people downplay because, she's being a stripper. No, she isn't. Burlesque doesn't mean you're getting naked. I've been to burlesque shows. They don't get naked.
No, not always.
Sometimes
they come pretty close.
They come pretty close, but it leaves more to the imagination.
Yeah.
But what I gotta say, when I saw her before NXT was NXT, she was in FCW. I saw a lot of glimpses of Eddie. I wish she stayed with it. I know she's married to who's the guy who sing opera for the WWE?
Oh,
English.
Aiden English, yeah.
She's married to Aiden English.
I like him. I liked when, right after the big purge, I mean, he had a great speech on Twitter, though.
What was the speech? Could you paraphrase? If you can remember.
I don't remember. It was a while ago.
Did he dump on WWE like Simon Gotch did?
No, he was actually very positive. He was basically saying, it's like a lot. He was grateful for
Vince giving him an opportunity,
and he thinks there's a lot of talented workers. He hopes he. I mean, he was, and he was like basically saying, this isn't going to be the end for me. It's going to be the beginning. I remember it being a very inspiring type of speech. Yeah. And I even saw Lee not too long after that. He went into another business entirely. He was interviewed, I think, with Chris Van Vliet. He's starting his own, I think it was bourbon. I think he was starting out, like his own business with
nice.
That. Yeah, so.
Oh, you just reminded me of something.
Uh-oh.
I watched the Bailey interview, like I said, I watched the Bailey interview with Stone Cold.
Yeah.
When Brody died, a lot of people put videos out of them doing toast to Brody.
Yeah.
Bailey was one of them. And she was just pouring whiskey shot after whiskey shot in. She was sharing Stone Cold beer with Austin. And just chugging it like a champ. I've seen pictures and I've been around people, how I've looked in the mirror. She's looked a little, I want to say, slant-eyed.
Okay.
I think she's a Wacky Wheat member.
A little cheeky-eyed.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I think she touches the Wacky Wheat, which I'm not condemning. I'm not condemning it all because it's from the earth.
Yes. There are a lot of things from the earth. Mushrooms are from the earth, too.
I've never been on mushrooms.
Yeah.
But if Vince is hardcore against the drug testing, he's very lax on marijuana because look at Matt Riddle.
Well, and that plus a lot of states are accepting it as medication now too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's.
Didn't Lewinsky say something about that about the head trauma thing that marijuana does help out with it?
Yeah, he said a lot of people have been saying that, but I mean, it's just I don't know. It's just a lot of people who want to eat edibles too. So I mean, whatever.
I think AEW just hired Lewinsky as a doctor for a concussion specialist.
Oh Jesus, Liz.
Yeah.
Where's my football?
But he has done the research, and then he has a medical degree. Mm-hmm. He has the research. He's done the research on CTE because look at Benoit. Mm-hmm. As in football, look at Junior Seau.
Right.
You're getting shots to the head. Look at I'm going to the hardcore shit. Remember a hardcore guy named Brain Damage from CZW? You've seen clips of him probably. The man took shots to the head. He committed suicide.
What? Speaking of which, about your favorite company, Mr. Callis, what did you think of that hardcore match with Callahan and Edwards? And you showed me pictures of Callahan looked like Frankenstein from a Hammer horror film. I mean,
do I need to remind you that Callahan did a Cage of Death?
Callahan, I know, has done a lot of hardcore stuff. That's why
there's a reason, and I had the shoot interview with Callahan he did before he left CCW. There's a reason there's a zipper on his back of his neck. Because he did a Cage of Death. There's a spot he did where it was on top of the cage on a platform with Danny Havoc, and they both did the dive through the pane of glass. Like 10, 15 feet up to the mat. And he got cut open along his spinal cord, along his neck. He had a zipper. And this is when, if you ever watch, a Smart Mark video did a shoot interview with Sammy Callahan. Again, find that. Mm-hmm. This is when Callahan was going for a very dark period in his life, and he was looking to destroy himself, and he was doing these hardcore matches just to, get
like
on.
A suicide.
Like a suicide attempt, I think. Because he lost his mom, he lost his best friend. He was just going through a dark place in his head at the time. And as a matter of fact, his wife at the time, he thanks his wife at the time, who we both know is Chrissy Rivera. And we all know what happened with that marriage. in the shoot interview. But like I said, Callahan has done death matches. He has done table. I think he did a tournament at TOD, and he's done at least one cage of death match, which I don't think he'll ever do that type of shit ever again because the man was a walking scar tissue after that. The funny spot was Callahan bought some wrapped in barbed wires and an N64 controller. Very CZW, very hardcore. Right. What was the funniest thing you said you saw in CCW? Was the barbed wire hoagie?
Well, it was probably that or the barbed wire Easter bunny.
Or
it's like a pink stuffed Easter bunny. It looked like the suit that Ralphie wore in Christmas Story, but in a stuffed toy with barbed wire.
And the Macaulay Culkin cardboard's covered in barbed wire.
That was, yeah.
Yeah. It was,
I think one of the tournament deaths I also saw, like a sex toys wrapped in that too.
Yes, it was, yes. That was a Sexy Eddie match.
Yeah.
It looked like one of the Tangled Web matches I saw. Many of the Tangled Web matches, they had a chain link fence with barbed wire. Mm-hmm. Two of the ropes were covered in barbed wire. There was a barbed wire bat and a barbed wire kendo stick hanging from chains on the other side where they can actually bounce off the ropes. And they took their bumps. And Eddie wants to be the next Sandman. Eddie wants to be the next Sandman in the worst way. Matter of fact, guess who gave him the cane? Sandman.
Okay.
Yeah, he almost passed the torch to him when Impact did TV tapings at the old ECW arena a few years back. And Sandman showed up and actually gave Eddie the cane. This is when Eddie was going completely mental at the time. This is after the real baseball shot to the face.
Oh, jeez.
Where he shattered, where Sammy was supposed to hit the chair.
Yeah.
He overshot the chair and hit him right in the face and cracked broke his Eddie Edwards' orbital bone.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's a botch. That's going to. I don't know who to blame on that one. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's on Callahan or Edwards for not positioning the chair right. That could be a dual fault.
Right.
But it was the hardcore match it was a hardcore match.
Right.
It was there. And I will still say this to this day. Jessica Havoc is still the best big woman in the business. Since Kong is not coming back.
Right.
Because you got Nia Jax, who hurts girls left and right. Rhea Ripley's a big girl, but she's nowhere Jessica Havoc's stature. Mm-hmm. Nyla Rose is another big girl. I saw the match. She did a crossbody.
Right.
She actually left her feet.
Oh, jeez.
Actually, during the duration of the match, she was the Ricky Morton where they beat up on most of the time. Nevaeh is a good worker. I've seen her work in Shimmer and CZW. If you don't know who Nevaeh is, if you watch any indie wrestling, if you know who the Christ brothers is, she's married to Jake Christ. Where Jake just announced he is a free agent.
Okay.
He's looking for anybody to take him. Nobody's going to touch his brother because of the allegations against his brother. But Jessica Havoc, too bad her past tweets fucked her over. Because I would see her, again, I would reiterate the story. She was having a tryout at the Performance Center in Florida at NXT. Hunter himself escorted her out of the building in mid-match.
Right.
In the tryouts. Twitter, if it's on the internet, it's going to stay on forever. Mm-hmm. Twitter will come and haunt you. It's come back to haunt.
Probably some of the things we say on here is going to bite us in the ass.
Yeah. I have nothing. Come after me.
Yeah.
A man with nothing has nothing to lose.
Okay.
If she stayed the course in... I don't know if you've seen any of her matches. Would she be the next Kong? Mm-hmm. Could she be the next Kong? I'm asking you.
I mean, as far as probably, I'd say you would be more like a Nyla Rose than a Kong, to be honest.
Yeah.
With you.
She works safe.
Yeah.
She knows how to work. She isn't a fashion model. By the way, Nia Jackson was a fashion model before she was an exercise fashion model before she was a wrestler.
Yeah.
So she basically is still a rookie in the business, where Jessica's been at this for a while.
Yeah.
And before Kong left Impact or TNA, they had a match, and it was just a kaiju fight. And it was the kaiju fight you wanted to see. And those two just tore into each other. And again, you had Kong, who knows how to work.
Right.
And you had Havoc, who knows how to work. I wish she would break away from Impact and get bigger eyes on her.
Problem is, the bigger companies, though, how marketable is it seeing women hoss fight, though? I mean, usually the hoss fight is you want the men. And women, you want them to
be size 0. Like Rio.
No, well, not even like Rio. Look like... Well, I hate to say it. I mean, they're sexist. I mean, they want them to look like pretty girls, basically.
Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
Asuka. Well, who Asuka is just a buzzsaw, in my opinion. She's a female Tajiri.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Who else? Kamala.
Yeah,
well, she's just got a job because Corey Graves is her boyfriend.
I mean, you might want maybe once in a while have like a China or somebody like one hoss who's like a monster ripping through, and
Beth Phoenix was a hoss.
Right, but I mean I don't know if you want a whole division like that though.
FMW had a division like that with other women. Didn't All Japan Women have the Zaps? Remember those two big girls?
Okay, we're talking about Japan, Chris. Japanese have always marketed differently.
True.
What's going to sell to audiences here?
You want Joe Schmo to watch it so they can jack off and watch pretty girls.
Pretty much, yeah. Because if you get enough Joe Schmoes, they'll put it on Fox. They won't have it like on,
FS1.
Yeah.
Or Access.
Right.
The best worker, female worker, Jessica Havoc's a one worker. They dropped the ball on Deanna Purrazzo when they had her in NXT.
Yeah.
She is a joy to watch in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it depends. You even said it yourself. It's a 2-person dance. It depends on who you dance with.
Right.
Taya Valkyrie is a good worker.
Mm-hmm.
Too bad she did that talking shop-a-mania bullshit with the Good Brothers.
Yeah.
Where she actually, quote-unquote, died in a death match. Yes. By lightsaber. By a comedian from America's Got Talent. Need I say more?
Chris, I'm going to tell you something. We have people at our jobs who listen to this show. You might not want to talk too much about the stuff in Impact. You might have to get a drug test. I swear to God.
Taya, from what I heard, is done with Impact.
Uh-huh.
Would you see her join her husband? You know who she's married to, right?
Refresh my memory.
John Morrison.
Oh, okay.
Would you like to see the mayor of Slamtown have his first lady back?
Yeah.
Because I could see Taya down at NXT. And her and Io could have banger matches. Her and Mercedes could have great matches. Her and Rhea could have great matches.
Right.
Because Valkyrie's not a small... Again, she's not a small girl. She's not a size 0. She's... what does she call herself? La Vera Roca.
Okay.
She was trained properly in AAA. She's Canadian. She's like a Canadian Latina trained by Mexicans.
Right.
And I don't know. I think she stayed there because her husband was there, but her husband's gone. She has no reason to stay there now. Well, don't you agree?
Well, I mean, paycheck might be a good reason, actually. But
where they're actually paying their wrestlers and not bouncing checks by Dixie. That's another thing. New Japan might be coming back to American TV. We just don't know what network we're going to be, even though there's a strong rumor going around it's going to be Access again. Who owns Access?
The same people who own
Impact. Anthem Sports, which is a Canadian company.
And of course you know that because you got W-2s coming in from them. But anyway, but now.
Yeah. Make sure you spell the last name right.
Right.
But that could feed into that cross-promotional thing again.
Yeah.
Because Bushido Road, which owns New Japan and Stardom, wants that foothold in the American market.
Mm-hmm.
They thought they would have it with that American president. They didn't get it. He promised them big things. They never got it. We almost done?
We're getting there, yeah. I was going to say.
Like I said, I would love to see New Japan, but they're going to need help. They had help with Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
They had help back in the day with WCW. I hope they get help with AEW.
I think they could, and AEW internationally probably would need more help from New Japan than vice versa. But,
or Rev Pro. Rev Pro in Revolution Pro in UK.
Yeah.
Because before the pandemic hit, I was hearing about they were going to do a Dynamite in the UK.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that would go over like gangbusters.
Definitely.
And especially if you could get some of the Rev Pro guys come in there, be great.
I mean, they have guys like that have been big in the UK for years, like Sabian, Pac. I mean, yep. I know they would eat that.
Ospreay's the Rev Pro champion.
There you go. Bringing Ospreay to American TV, that would be...
We kind of got it at when he was Ring of Honor TV champ, and how many eyes are on Ring of Honor?
Yeah, I mean, no offense to Ring of Honor. They are based in our hometown, and they are on a lot of stations, but usually, when are they usually on, Chris? Late night on Saturdays?
Yeah, Saturday night at 10 o'clock on whatever station Sinclair owns.
Or on another station they own Stadium, and it's like... Some cities have that, some cities don't. But, it's just... Yeah.
And the only thing, if they do this cross-promotional thing, and we said this in the last show, I hope they bring the Briscoes to AEW because it would be a great thing for them.
They would be fun to see.
Especially the promos, because we know Jay is the poet laureate of the two.
Get them in a feud with FTR. I think that would really be fun to see.
That'd be an old school match.
Yeah.
They're both ground and pound guys. They're both ground and pound teams.
One company, and we'll wrap this up shortly, folks, thanks for listening. One company I have been watching every now and then, it's just starting to have matches as well, MLW.
Yeah.
I would love to see with the Briscoes, Mance Warner. That would be like peanut butter and jelly with those.
You see the guy who wears the Confederate bandana?
Yeah, he's the one. He's going to go to the pay window and all that. Yeah,
he's a former CZW world champion.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I've seen him in CZW.
Yeah, right.
I was at the show, and I actually talked to the guy. He's actually pretty cool.
He seems like he's cool.
Nice guy. I see big things for him.
Right.
He did a lot of deathmatch kabuki shit in CZW, like everybody else does there.
Mm-hmm. Well, the MLW did one thing, and they still do it also. They had, like, their own version of BTE, where it's like, they called it, they had Fusion, but they had a thing called Pulp Fusion, where it kind of reminded me of, if you remember the Hardcore TV for ECW, where they had the skits, it was a lot like that. They had this hilarious thing where he said he would challenge a bear to a death match or something, and they had a thing. It was like in his trailer, and you heard these sound effects. He's like, "All right, where's that bear? Where's that son of a bitch?" And it's like, and it made it look like he was getting mauled by the bear. Yeah, and I don't know.
That named Sue.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I told you my favorite thing with him when he wrestled Sami Callihan, and Callihan spat at Jim Cornette, and Jim Cornette went off. He said, "I hope Manson cripples that son of a bitch." I was dying.
Where I watch Impact, you don't watch Impact. I don't watch MLW because there's so much wrestling out there, and I'm trying to watch other stuff, Mm-hmm. Where you can be the MLW guy, where I be the Impact guy.
Right.
And we can compare. Mm-hmm. Are they doing no fans or some fans? Okay.
They're, I don't know if you've seen any of their shows. They would rotate to, like, different arenas. There was this one nightclub in Orlando that they did a lot of shows. That's where they're doing them now. And what they're doing, they're not throwing any... It's different. I mean, the presentation's interesting, what they're doing. They're not having any fake crowd noise, but what they're doing is they're trying to make it look like... It reminds me of Raw Underground, because they have, like, a lot of this dry ice. They're trying to make it look like a smoke-filled arena.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. It's kind of... I don't know, in one way it kind of looks cool, and the other way it kind of looks... I guess they're using the smoke to hide the lack of fans, but it kind of looks like it looks like an amateur shoot or something. I don't know, it's...
Well, Ring of Honor's doing TV tapings now, and they're calling their area the Bubble.
Right.
They're doing it at UMBC, no fans. We've seen what Vince is doing with the virtual fans, which I think is a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have to charge for be part of the experience. I don't know. AEW is allowing some fans at Daly's Place. I think 1,000 fans tops, I think.
Right.
Impact, no crowd there. They're piping in crowd noise.
Yeah.
That's another thing I didn't like about that, because they're piping in crowd noise to give you that fan experience.
Well, how's it any different from WWE with the Thunderdome? I mean,
They're piping in crowd noise.
Yeah, they're piping in crowd noise with a bunch of Max Headroom, TV shots. It's like.
And and from what I'm hearing, they're giving for more stringent testing for that, because some people have been getting through with some unscrupulous stuff on their screens.
Everything from pictures of Kenny Omega to Chris Benoit to beheadings.
Yeah.
But what I also heard, one thing they were doing with the NXT tapings, they were reusing stuff used from Raw and Smackdown in their crowds.
For the Thunder, and they still have their little pods for people to be inside the fence area.
Yeah.
That gives that, and remember, it's not called the Performance Center anymore, it's the Capitol Wrestling Center. Because when WWE first started, it was called Capitol Wrestling.
And it was actually in Washington, D.C.
D.C., yes.
I guess,
that was senior. That was senior.
Why didn't they just call it champion? I mean, do like an Eddie Graham tribute. Oh gosh. Why? I mean, that has nothing to do with Florida. It's like a Washington D.C. thing. Though.
Why they say wrestling? Because to Vince, wrestling is the dirtiest word out there.
Yeah.
I still remember when he had did Austin's podcast, the original Steve. What was Austin's original podcast? He did a show on the network, and Vince looked at him when he said wrestling. He says, "What are they? Oh, they're superstars. Yeah, they're superstars. They're not wrestlers."
Yeah.
It's like wrestling's a dirty word to him. Again, Matt Stryker kept on saying the sport.
Yeah.
Like Shane Douglas said in that infamous ECW promo when he threw down the NWA title.
Right.
I agree with Vince. It's sports entertainment because we're entertained.
Yeah.
When do you think The Fiend is coming back? Because we're going to have Alexa versus Asuka tomorrow night.
It's hard to say. I would say probably between Rumble and WrestleMania, but...
Randy Orton is in the Rumble. But all the sources I've been reading and hearing is we're going to see Fiend Orton Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
A new iteration of the Bray Wyatt character, which I'm dreading and curious about at the same time.
Yeah.
Because we saw Randy Orton destroy the Firefly Funhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to see Mr. Rogers Bray Wyatt or Fiend all the time? Or another thing?
Probably something else altogether.
Which is going to... I know Vince, he's going to fuck it up royally.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because right now, I love the Alexa Bliss direction.
Mm-hmm.
How she's... possessed?
Yeah.
You would say possessed?
I don't even know if she's possessed now, because she's just...
She drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
She drank...
She was... I mean, early on, that's how they were doing it, but right now, she's just...
an acolyte.
Yeah, she's just... she's just batshit crazy, but...
I will say this still to this day. Who plays the creepiest character, female, right now? You got Sue Young, Rosemary, Alexa, who, in a way, it is creepy, or Abaddon.
No, it's different,
It's apples and oranges, I know that. But they all have their own iteration of creepy.
No, I wouldn't say Alexa's creepy. I would say she's more,
Psychotic?
Yeah. Abaddon's just straight up...
horror movie.
Right, just horror movie zombie, I mean...
Rosemary's the same thing.
Yeah.
Sue Young's the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's different. I mean, she's...
The Undead Bride and the Demon Assassin.
Yeah. I mean, Alexa Bliss, though, she's more mischievous. She's like a Harley Quinn kind of thing.
Kind of like a 5-year-old who has an evil edge to her.
I'll tell you who she reminds me of. Sherry Moon's character in the, House of the Thousand Corpses, the Rob Zombie movie.
I think that's... if Bray's still doing the creative, I think that's where he got the idea from.
Right.
And I know Alexa's big into horror movies. She's a big nerd herself. She probably is all in for this idea.
Yeah.
It restarted her career.
Yeah.
Too bad for Nikki Cross.
Right.
Because when's the last time you saw Nikki on television to talk to Mark Henry on Legends Night?
It seemed like they were going in that direction with her. She would have been perfect.
She would have been the woman who saved Alexa.
Yeah.
Be the perfect story, like a storytelling, a fairy tale ending almost. They're dropping the ball on Nikki.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know you dropped the ball on Nikki yourself, but, yeah.
But like I said, they dropped the ball on Nikki. Yeah. Nikki is a good talent, and if they kept her as a crazy person instead of just being Alexa's best friend.
Yeah.
Because when I first saw her in NXT with Sanity, when she first came out, I was like, I think I'm in love.
Right. Oh, yeah, yeah.
She was great. She was beating up guys. Mm-hmm. They watered her down. They watered her down severely.
Oh, yeah. They made her normal, unfortunately. When she first came to the main roster, I laughed my ass off when I saw her on Smackdown. She was, like, taunting. She was, like, behind a cage and taunting people. And it's like Rey Mysterio was walking by. Ray, come over. I want to play.
Is this when they still had Sanity there?
Well, yeah, yes and no. Sanity was in and out. It was when they first brought her up.
Mm-hmm. Well, they brought Sanity up as a unit, and they just she broke out from it.
Yeah.
Who else do you think? Okay, in your opinion, who is the talent they're burying the most that should get a spotlight
in
WWE? Total, all 3 shows.
Total, all 3 shows. Oh boy.
Ricochet.
Ricochet's possible.
Apollo Crews, who they're kind of giving a push a little bit.
Yeah, they're kind of giving him a half-ass mid-card push kind of thing.
Because it looks like we're going to get Roman versus Big E at Mania.
Right.
Probably.
Well, I mean, it's like guys that are getting forgotten about. You don't see the New Day guys anymore.
Well, Kofi's out with a broken jaw.
Yeah.
Maybe Xavier will get a mid-card push.
Yeah.
He is good talent. He is really good. Do you remember his run in TNA?
No.
Consequences Creed. He was the tag champs with Pac-Man Jones.
Oh, okay.
If you remember that.
God, that, yeah.
Yeah, where him and R-Truth and Pac-Man were a faction. Where Pac-Man never saw ring action. Never. Mm-hmm. And I think he was still under contract with the NFL at the time.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah. I've been watching him throughout the Indies and for here. He's good.
Yeah.
He's very good. He's very smart too. He's got a PhD. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to the third party thing. He's still doing the up, down, down thing with the video games and talking to the guys. It's a wonder if Vince hasn't taken that down yet.
Okay, I thought of somebody, and it's not so much bearing as it is splitting up, which I thought was a mistake.
What's that?
Why the bleep did they split up the Iconics? They were such a great heel team.
Vince sees something in Peyton.
But they stick her in tag teams anyway, and they're putting Billie Kay in with the Riot Squad.
She had that one match with Billie Kay, which was great. Vince has that attention span of a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Pushed her for 3 weeks and gone. Pushed her for 3 weeks and gone. The push is gone.
Please give the man his football so he can find it.
And Billie Kay is down with the Riot. She's perfect comedy. She's a good comedy girl. And I like what she's doing with the Riot Squad.
Mm-hmm. I like what she did this past week, where it's like she got in the ring and accidentally interfered and caused...
I love the backstage promo 2 weeks ago. It says, I listened to Punk. I listened to the Blink 182. I was like, oh, God.
And then it's like, she mispronounced mosh pitting. He called it mosh pitching. He said, that's what they do in Australia. Here in America, they also have their own style called mosh pitting.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's funny.
Well, she's a perfect comedy. She's going to be the female Santino.
Right.
Where, again, Santino had an accent, comedy guy. She has an accent, comedy girl. Billy
and you notice the ones that have like the strongest accents. Usually it's only heels that have that. You don't hear like any baby faces with that kind of,
Well, it's just Nikki Cross or Drew.
McIntyre,
Nikki Cross.
But hers, they kind of watered down a little bit.
Yeah. Who else? Sheamus is now a face.
Yeah.
Who I love him as a heel. He's a monster heel. Keep him a heel.
Right. I have a feeling he's going to turn back to being a heel.
You know who enjoys being the heel the most? Randall Keith Orton.
Yeah,
he
sure.
loves being a heel.
He's much better at it. I think most wrestlers enjoy doing that because it's like when they're baby faces, they have to pretend, that guys at indie shows don't have, like convention crud, you know what I mean, or take a bath or whatever. And when they're heels, they can go off on them. They call them names and tell them what they want.
Do you know what? Even when he was a face, you know what Randy did to dirt sheet writers whenever he saw them?
What?
Show him his dick.
Okay.
Show him his dick. This is proven fact. Remember, he was kicked. What was it? The Army or the Marines? He was kicked out of the Marine. He was kicked out of the service for bad behavior.
Okay.
He got dishonorable discharge. He's a great heel. I think he's a better heel than his dad ever was. And his dad was a good heel.
Well, his dad is a different kind of heel too. He was a sidekick heel. That's different.
Well, even before that, during the Backlund era, he was challenging for the WWE title for Backlund, and he was a good heel. Wasn't he managed by the Wizard?
I think he was, yeah. But, Orton wasn't that great of a promo, though.
He's
Cowboy
better now.
Bob.
No. That's why he had a manager for a mouthpiece.
I'm talking about Cowboy.
Yeah, or Piper,
Yeah. Oh, Piper,
Piper's the master vocalist.
Part of the reason why Randy's a wrestler and Cowboy Bob had made as much as he did is because of Piper's big mouth.
Yeah. And Orton is such skillful on the mic.
Yeah.
He is a great heel, and he plays a good psychotic, evil son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Well, even when him and Bray had even when Orton was facing, he had the the feud with White Door for the title. He was doing strange shit to heelish shit to White then.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Setting the house on fire, you know? I think overall he's the best heel in the business.
Yeah.
Out of every promotion, he's the best heel in the business. Next to MJF.
MJF by far. Yeah, it's...
Him and Orton are at 1A and 1B.
No, I disagree. I think MJF's much better than Orton, to be honest with you. Orton's more of a complete wrestler. MJF is... He's a dick. He likes being a dick. He is a true old school heel. He's not a cool heel. He's not a X-Pac Heat type of heel. He's a guy that you actually... You want to punch in the face.
Going back to the Brody tribute where he flipped off -1 and took the mask off the kid.
Right, and spat on him.
Right. It's like, you can't get any more heat than you setting yourself on fire.
And it's like, even when, early on when he was still a heel, but he was...
By himself.
No, before that, when he was, quote-unquote, friends with Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
And they had this one thing,
He was Eddie Haskell. That's what it was.
Well, they had a thing where it was like after Dynamite, they brought a kid in. I think when they were in Philadelphia, they brought a kid in who was dressed like Orange Cassidy.
I remember that, yeah.
And he had Cody say, "Oh, come on." He said, "Well, all right, we got a match with Orange Cassidy." And he was going, and Cody was just doing the cute thing with the kid, letting him pin him or whatever. And even MJF then was like, "Don't you let that snot-nosed kid, pin you, Cody. Whatever. Don't let him do that,
But MJF at, 23?
Yeah.
Still a baby in the business. hats off to Kurt Hawkins training that guy.
Yeah.
He trained him and Chris Statlander. Oh, I hope Statlander comes back soon. Very soon.
I do too. I am a fan of
I miss her. I love the gimmick. I love her being an alien. I love the whole she don't talk at all. She's the boop thing with the finger.
Well, getting back to MJF, this is why I think he's a better heel than Orton. Orton is more...
A psychotic?
No. He's more of a modern wrestler where he's done enough where you've seen him in those movies and stuff. You've seen him on TV. You've seen him off screen.
Yeah.
MJF stays in character everywhere he goes.
Oh, the Twitter thing where what was it I showed you where he laughed at the kid?
Yeah, exactly.
All you see, was it something about Cody Rhodes? And all you see is Twitter on his Twitter going ha 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 ha.
Right.
And I loved it. Me and you laughed our asses off.
Oh yeah, big time.
So you want to wrap up?
Yeah, I think we will. All right, Chris, mention your socials.
Christopher James Filato at Facebook and at C Filato on Twitter.
All right, and my socials are this channel, this YouTube channel, RGC Multimedia. You can also go to our Twitter channel, which is at Comic Book Action Theater. So,
we have a Twitter channel.
Yeah, oh yeah. We this network's always had a Twitter channel. I mean,
we're branching out.
Yeah, we not only have this show with this Motormouth next to me, we also have Pro Baseball World Tour, where we talk about baseball throughout the year, actually, folks, in different countries, different parts of the world, if you like that. Especially, if you were one of those that watched like KBO or Japanese baseball when there was no Major League Baseball thanks to COVID. You like that stuff, you can check it out. And then one of these years I'm going to get some new episodes of this, but Comic Book Action Theater has a lot of good shows. There's plenty on our channel. You can catch up to watch that as well.
If you don't want to hear our old funky asses.
Well, you hear my funky ass for a little bit, but, but that might just be because of what I ate while doing the episode. Anyway, all right, well, folks, thank you for listening. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. We'll keep you updated. Oh, also up on we have a Facebook group for RGC Multimedia. We'll have updates for that as well. So,
which he's the moderator.
Yep. Yeah, okay. You gotta blame somebody, I guess.
Yeah, blame somebody.
All right.
See ya.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next time.
See ya.